Mic check, mic check. All right, cool. Black Raven. All right. Let's make this transition very quickly. Tell a friend we're live. Share. There we go. Let's nice crossfade here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and bam. Should work now. Yes, it did. Excellent. Pick up everyone in the house. This is the Black Betterment Broadcast 224. That's 224 attempts at unifying Black people to find solutions. Fantastic. I'm your host, Brother Raven, also known as Rap Raven. Let's go, go, go. So let's start as we always start. So first and foremost, don't forget to follow the Black Betterment Building Instagram page. We promote every week. Not too good, but we do every week. Oh, that's actually the screen. Hold on. Exit full screen. Big up Brother Leon in the house. Copy and paste this for those who want to follow the Instagram. Ta-da. Okay, moving on. So we're going to start as we always start. First of all, tell a friend we're live. Let them know that this is your time to join in. The show works really well when people listen live and they give their comments, or when people jump in. But if you don't do that, you can also catch a show. It's recorded after the fact, so that's always cool. But here's how we normally start. Big up on code Barber. What is that? I'm hearing. Oh, I think I've got music in the background. That's what it is. There you go. Yeah, so we start with talking about white supremacy, anti-Black racism, and the Ma'afa. These are the triple tragedies, sorry. So white supremacy, anti-Black racism, the Ma'afa. These three huge things, very huge. We break these down, and we have broken these down week to week, but hopefully you will know what they are. Google them. But if not, we can always unpack them at some point. But these three massive things have contributed to what we call the double dilemma. Oh, no. Which is we are despised or we're disorganized. That's not a good combo to go through, see, where people actively hate you and we're disorganized. And because of that, we need a solution. And what is that solution? Well, Black Betterment. The lifestyle of Black people, continuously helping Black people. Your job here is to make this fantastic idea, this lifestyle, this template, normalized in the Black community. If we can have some kind of system or codified way of thinking that all makes us work together to find solutions, you'll be laughing. You'll be laughing all the way. So we tend to focus on three areas, which is Black families, Black economics, and Black health. Very important. We call this the Mlingo. That's gold in Swahili. So give everyone three goals, and that is Black families, Black economics, and Black health. Very important. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Right. So we invite the public to jump in and have a conversation. And when we do, we just ask that you uphold the 4D values, which are discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. Yes, sir. That's what we like to uphold. If you can uphold that, please do, please do, please do. Try not to use derogatory terms, more descriptive if you can. So what are today's fantastic topics? Well, we're dealing with turn pain into power. We discuss how showing the painful parts of Black people can help the community focus on Black issues. What does he mean by that? Well, we shall unpack that. And the second one is how to incorporate biracial people in Black Betterment spaces. We discuss why biracial members of the community might find it hard to focus on Black Betterment. This is motivated as a part two, really. I think it was either last week or the week before. I get confused with the days. I think we had listeners in the show, asking, saying they're biracial and there's certain things that they have issues with, and there's certain challenges that biracial people go through. That's one Black parent and one not. And also terms, what people call each other. So, we'll focus on that as well, just to give clarity, and also the strategies of how to operate to minimize anxiety and pain if possible. All right. So what we normally do while people decide they're going to log in or not, we usually just look at random videos and give a Black Betterment perspective of it. So let's see some random videos that has nothing to do with today's topic and see what we can do. So where's my fantastic? We could do that. Got a lot of those ones. And we start with the nice kids dancing. It's always good, if you always put productive things on the internet, and most of the things you talk about isn't that productive. Well, it is productive. It's not productive in the sense of the topic is problematic, but we try to find solutions to it. But it's also good to see good things. So here's a good thing to see: kids dancing. I play it throughout. It's always good to balance, problematic things with good, uplifting, cheery things. Nothing more cheery than kids enjoying themselves in the party, dancing around, all that good stuff. hoping this song isn't copyrighted. Might be. Another thing as well, randomly, a lot of the videos get cut, and people will let me go, I can't see it. So I have to go online, and then usually it's like one song in the video from an Instagram video that shuts everything down. I'll turn down the song. Anyway, that's cool. The kids dance around. We're here. Hopefully that won't get the things shut down. Excellent. So that's a nice uplifting start, but obviously we have to now go to the downlifting start. What we're dealing with. Got a good thing from Maponga, brother Dr. Maponga.
20 million Africans. Not have 2 million Jews who die in Germany. And you coin up words, anti-Semitism, anti-what, to protect the Jews. And you look over your shoulder, you have more than 100 million blacks who have died and have been killed. And there's no one who has come up with the concept of anti-black. And Jews are allowed to celebrate. And if you say anything against the Jews, then you are labeled as anti-Semitic. But 2 million Jews die. Hitler is the most horrible man. Leopold kills 20 million Africans. 20 million Africans. And he's still not the most West man that ever lived. Can you process that? Hitler kills 2 million white people. He's the most evil man that ever lived. Leopold kills 20 million Africans. He still does not appear on the list of the most wicked people that ever lived on the earth. There must be something wrong with this narrative. Totally something wrong with that narrative. It can be right by day, by night, by numbers, by mathematics, by ethnography. It cannot be right. That the whole world watches the massacre of black people and says nothing. And we want to call up holidays over the death of 2 million Jews, as if it is the worst disaster that ever happened on the face of the earth was the death of 2 million white people. There must be something wrong with our language, unless maybe I'm crazy. But from mathematics, I think there's a disparity right there. Someone is not being honest about the authenticity of history and the dignity of human life. And if this is true, that 2 million Jews are much more important than 20 million Africans, then maybe we're on the wrong continent, where value of human life must be equal.
Little brother there. So yeah, unfortunately, that's how it is. You know, anything Black African, anything around that kind of sentiment will always be devalued, and that comes from within and out of the continent. And that's why you need something like Black Betterment to remind people of what's important, how it happened. We've been talking about that kind of side-by-side analysis. You know, Hitler was the world's worst person because he tried to do to the Europeans what the Europeans were doing to the Africans, you see. And that was colonize and obviously then kill. This is the thing. Unfortunately, Leopold, the King of Belgium, killed millions and millions of Congolese, all on search for gold and jewels and whatever it was dealing with. But the only people who's going to really value the lives of Black people are Black people. So we have to come up with the stories, the pictures, the codes, the testimonies. And funny enough, that actually ties into what we're doing as part of the show. So we'll segue that in a bit later. But it's important that Black people tell our own narratives, because non-Black people won't, and non-Black people by osmosis will always have a value for their own people. People look like them at a high ratio than Black people. So you can't expect Black people, or you can't expect white people to necessarily care for Black people or non-Black people in general. And that's important. You know, that's why it's good to be Afro-centered, or Black-centered. What else are we dealing with? What else we got? Listen to this. We've covered it before, but some of the behaviors of what happened to a lot of the early singers in Motown and Black society, whatever, back in the days. Say a little 1 minute thing.
Riddled with debt, without even a headstone for his grave. A man whose money problems had worsened through the years because of the way his managers had shuffled his income and expenses and tax obligations. On September 29th, 1975, Jackie Wilson had an apparent heart attack and collapsed on stage at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill. He was 41 years old, and for the next 8 years until his death, he remained incapacitated, brain damaged, in a New Jersey nursing home. That was when some of the financial realities caught up. Even though he'd been a star for more than 20 years, Jackie Wilson was in debt. He owed an estimated $300,000 in back taxes and well over $100,000 to a company owned by the man he had trusted to keep his financial affairs straight. Wilson's manager was a man named Nat Tarnopol, who was also president of Brunswick, the recording company for which Wilson made all of his hits, advancing him money to live well for the present and setting up a future in which Jackie Wilson would be constantly on the hook to Brunswick Records and Nat Tarnopol, who exercised control over his income. Brunswick record artists were defrauded of royalties. Brunswick made hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of record shipments that were never put on the books, so the artists were never paid royalties on them. In essence, it was alleged that the same company that had run up debts in Wilson's name was also cheating him out of the money he could have used to help pay them back.
Jackie Wilson there, amazing singer, influenced Michael Jackson and James Brown, I think. One of the earliest greats, but yeah, unfortunately died very young, in his 40s, early 40s. Never good. People say, Elvis took a lot of his style, this kind of stuff. Shame, but yeah, he in back in those kind of 40s, 50s, 60s kind of time period, a lot of European Jewish people and Europeans, but I think a lot of Jewish people as well, European Jews. They would sign a lot of black artists and then not give them publishing. In music, when you write songs and you get publishing, but they would do deals to make sure that the black people have got it. And then you're saying here that they ran up debts for him, and then he had one company he owed money to, and he could have paid back the company that he owed money to had they given him his money that he owed him, and they owed him money. It was very dodgy dealings that was going on. Very dodgy dealings. Never good. I think we covered the thing as well of Stevie Wonder. I could be wrong. We have to check that one out, where Stevie Wonder had some kind of deal where one of his managers, a white guy, owned his publishing for certain things. And then when he died, he wanted his wife, his European wife, this is the white guy, to inherit Stevie Wonder's publishing, and Stevie wanted to take the court to get it back after he died. So that's what I'm trying to talk about, generational wealth. Like, Europeans think that way. So, they'll some of them guys will happily scam you and then take your stuff and then make sure their family inherits it. You know what I'm saying? That they're planning ahead, a lot of these anti-black guys. And that's why I have to really think that way. Big up Empress Christie. Amazing artist. It's very true. Unfortunately, he died young. Died young on stage. He collapsed on stage. And the matter of fact, a lot. I mean, maybe we should cover it, like some of the Motowns and the Stax and the other brothers. Some of the, and this is the thing, how they were treated, how their finance were treated, and some of the choices they made. Never good. Let's go with one more. And then we'll jump into the show. Any others? Asian? Oh, this is interesting to hear. So these two Asians are talking. Let's listen to them. Very important.
One, a lot of the Asian women that I'm attracted to are dating white guys. Number two is there's probably like an internal validation thing of like immigrant family, growing up seeing Caucasian.
So the Asian man there said internal validation. So that's something. Do you know brothers who might think the same way? It's good to see different communities and how they view whiteness and how they view their own people and the history of why that is and colorism and stuff. It shows you that this doesn't happen in the void, but also it shows you, you have to have defense mechanisms, i.e., Black Betterment, to make sure you don't end up self-sacrificing and sabotaging
Asian women on movies, and there's just like this sense of I will be validated if I date a white woman. That doesn't feel fully true when I say it.
See, I actually think a lot of people think it's like a superiority thing, but I almost think if we're associated with a white person, then we won't get mistreated anymore because it's like we get to hide behind them.
I can kind of see what you're saying. I don't get the mistreatment.
Once again, all these are like, unfortunately, negative connotations of why they want to be with people outside the community. We understand that black men date out at the highest rate, but Asian women worldwide and in many places date out even more than black men. And that's an issue for Asian men to tackle, really. but we understand that there's something going on there.
Treated thing because I didn't really experience kind of that. But I do think there is a similar sort of thing of like, if I get married to a white woman, I'm part of America, which is crazy because I was born here and
So there is a part of you that felt like you didn't fit in, which is like very valid.
I feel like that's like 20% for me. Like
Yeah.
it's not a huge thing.
The other 80 is just like, I look good with a white chick on my arm.
Well, to be sure, I like every color of women, obviously,
If they're hot enough.
and nice enough.
Okay, cool. All right, there you go. So the Asian perspective of why so many of them are chasing Europeans. Cool. Right. So let's now jump to the show de Leodo. Let's go. Where's that thing? It's here. So what should we start with? So let's go to pain into power. So I strongly recommend that. Sometimes, my phone is absolutely riddled with like, go back to Africa. Shut up, you black man. Who you think you are? All this other stuff. Because I might make a comment about something, maybe black economics, black love, black health. You name it, right? And when you obviously we know, like, when people for some reason drag me into talks about dating and the importance of marrying a black woman, I always say that, these the people you want to marry. Do they support reparations? That's a good way to know if someone cares about you and your community. And 100% of the time, the answer is no. They don't want you to have reparations. So it's a good kind of way to test the grounds. But sometimes they come back and say, "Well, listen, man, slavery was a long time ago, or mistreatment of black people was a long time ago. You never went through it. Why, blah blah blah." And they go there. So sometimes it's good to have everyone see, the black people on camera who went through some of this stuff. Also, people reading out the testimonies of how it was. And I think it's a good thing. Big up, brother Dominic. I was good, a very important contributor. So let's see if we can start there. And I'll do more to document more. But here's some videos I came across. Where is it? Being black in. Hold on. Let's say this one. This is one. This one. Let me read it. It says, former enslaved people film speaking about their experience enslaved in America. That's also important. I'm not going to get on people's back of how they use terms, but I think it's better for us to refer to people who were enslaved as enslaved people and not slaves. Very important. And also people who enslaved them as enslavers and not slave masters. You can do what you want because some people, they have their own techniques, whatever. But I think that's more empowering, more so when you're talking to a community, but also when you're talking to the oppressors. Let them know that they won't get any kind of like jolly words in their demonic behavior, if you understand. So you're an enslaver, not a slave master.
Hard. I worked hard. I get up at 4 o'clock and get my breakfast done. Just at dawn of day, I go to the field and we pick cotton.
Mr. and Mrs. Haywood Jenkins of Sharkey County, Mississippi have, between them, picked cotton for over a century.
My boss man came along. He says, Ray Jane? I said, sir. I say, when you wash? I said, I washed last night. He said, I don't want you to do that no more. That's my agent, He says, every Friday morning or Friday evening, you wash. And let all the children stay there with you until you get through. When you get through, then y'all can go back to the field and wait. Now, the agents was mean, some of them. Some of them was mean. They want to whoop the colored people. And that time, the white man come along. He says, hey, you in the field yet? He just had started applying. He said, yes, I've just not had to eat my dinner. God damn it, you ain't doing a goddamn thing. Says, God damn it, I ought to take this damn stick and frill the hell out you. He said, no, he said, if you frill the hell out of me, goddamn, I frill the hell out of you. It makes me feel bad if I was under them, how mean they was to treat us like that.
See the aunties there, the ancestors now. So this is a video made in 1968, and they remember as kids being enslaved. It's just like there's many of these videos. We show keep them and document them and use them as ways to highlight when people say that slavery was a bygone thing in an ancient fairy tale land. It's important, very important that they see this. Let's see, there's other videos. I have one about sharecropping, which is similar to enslavement. It's where you work on the land for your food and stuff. What's this one? Let's say this is Jerome.
How old are you?
9.
9? Do you go to school?
Yes.
Where do you go to school, Jerome? at that Okeechobee Elementary School.
I see. What is your sister's name?
Lois,
That's Lois. And what are your other sisters' names?
Catherine.
So this is like after slavery, around about that sort of time, a lot of black people they would work on a land, and rather than get paid money, they would get paid with what was produced, if anything produced. It wasn't a good way to live, but it was some of the arrangements they got into back then through, nefarious ways and stuff.
And Beulah.
Catherine and Beulah. What happened to your foot, Jerome?
Dig a nail in out there by the wash house.
So you drove a nail in out by the wash house. What did your mother do for that?
She put some alcohol on it
Where do you sleep, Jerome?
in his bed.
You have this big bed?
Yes,
What happened? How did you get that hole in that bed there, Jerome?
the rats.
The what?
Rats.
Now, Jerome, you are taking care of Kathy, of Beulah, and Lois.
Yes,
Now, are you going to give them lunch today?
yes.
What are you going to feed them?
I don't know.
Do you have any food here to give them?
Yes.
I see. What time does your mother come home?
I don't know.
The following day, Aline King, the mother of Jerome, Kathy, Lois, and Beulah, again was picking beans.
Aileen King, I saw your children yesterday at the Okeechobee camp. Why didn't you put them in the nursery?
I don't make enough to pay for it.
How much does it cost?
Cut there. But definitely want to get these videos. We'll have to try to document and stuff. So that was talking about sharecropping. Around about that after the slavery time and stuff in America and the South, I believe. See, we've got one more video from this topic, and then some ways it's two for what's this? Oh, this is old video as well. I don't know if we remember hear this one. Let's hear it. Two former slaves born in 1842 and 1852 talk about their slave days, filmed in 1944. So this is quite,
The ripe age of 102, you must have had some interesting
So she was 102, I think they were saying.
experiences. Tell us one of them when you were a little girl.
I'll read for you because it's very. Your age 102, you must have had some interesting experiences. Tell us one of them when you were a little girl.
Yes. Well, when I was a little girl in slave days, I always had something to do every day.
That's something. So she's saying, yes, when I was a little girl in slave days, I always had something to do every day. That's something that I hear a lot. Like children always had something to do. No real time to play, to just be children, just working from young, 7 days a week.
Every day. We didn't have time to play very much at all. I myself was in the house for most of the time.
So we go back 14 seconds. So yeah, every day we didn't have much time to play because I myself was in the house most of the time. Carry on.
And days like this, while we were outdoors, pulling up weeds or picking up feathers where the chickens was all make them through the yard.
So all days like this, we were outdoors, pulled up weeds and picking up feathers where chickens would all make them through the yard to every day.
Every day. And in cloudy days, while we were in the house, we had a big pan of sand, silver sand in an old slipper, scrubbing up the floor in the big dining room where they ate the meat.
In the cloudy days while we were in the house, they had a big, I don't know what she said, that's inaudible, they said, scrubbing up the floor in the big dining room where they ate the meals.
Sister Haney, where did you live as a slave?
Sister saying, imagine children never being able to play ever. And this is part we're tapping into, unfortunately, what we're saying here, and that is that the horrors and the lifestyle that many of the ancestors went through, remembering it and trying to live to try to make sure it doesn't repeat, but also justice is served in some kind of way. But sometimes you have to bring it up. Sometimes you have to use truth, logic, and pity to get black people more synchronized with a better way of living, and to try to break the subservience that the majority of our community have, the complete and especially in the UK, subservience to non-black people and the needs of other people before your own. We have thoroughly conquered them, so unfortunately, and this is because, like I said, very few people have gone through the mass experience that black people worldwide have gone through. So that's why we document it, to try to keep people synchronized. Let's carry on. This is now talking to the elderly gentleman. Hey, Haley, where did you live as a enslaved person?
I was slave all my life.
I think he said they didn't. He said, "I was a slave all my life," is what he said. I think that's what he said. They couldn't work it out. Where did you live? He asked.
Where did you live? I told you where I lived, in Washington.
I lived in Washington.
Where did you live before Washington?
Where did you live? Oh, you can hear that.
I told you.
Okay, so I think the elderly gentleman there. For more videos, visit my channel. Okay, live in. I might have to check them out more. I'd have to got more things there. All right, so let me see. Is there one more video? Is that? Let me just check. 202. There's 4 of them. We've played 3. So 1, 2. This is a good one. This is more reading notes. This is from the 60s, but read back. This is a white lady's
I'm going to read, as an example, an historical example.
Obviously, not everything was documented with video. It was expensive back in the days, and some things were before video was even that widespread or even invented. But there's tons of enslavement notes, the day-to-day and books and stuff. It's definitely worth reading.
This American.
What was the title? I didn't see it.
I'm going to read, as an example, an historical example. This is American history, from a narrative produced many years ago by WPA. Some of you in the audience will know what that means. Anyone who doesn't, ask your nearest neighbor with hair as gray as mine. This excerpt is from a volume, Lay My Burden Down, which is the verbatim record of interviews with the last of the slaves. On the screen you will see the pictures in the volume of those who were interviewed. I will read only a small segment, just to give you a sense of the drama, the feeling and content which lies in this kind of historical material, which is the content we teach. This one is called, She Never Got to Keep Her Babies. My mother told me that Master owned a woman who was the mother of several children, and when her babies would get about a year or 2 of age, she'd sell them, and it would break her heart. She never got to keep them. When her 4th baby was born and was about 2 months old, she just studied all the time about how she would have to give it up, and one day she said, I just decided I'm not going to let old Master sell this baby. He just ain't going to do it. She got up and give it something out of a bottle, and pretty soon it was dead. Of course, didn't nobody telling her, or he'd have beat her nearly to death. Second segment, titled, I just said it to the wrong person. One time some Yankee soldiers stopped and started talking to me. They asked me what my name was. I say Liza, and they say, Liza who? I thought a minute and I shook my head. Just Liza. I ain't got no other name. He say, who live up yonder in that big house? I say, Mr. John Mixon. He say, you are Liza Mixon. He say, do anybody ever call you nigger? And I say, yes, sir. He say, next time anybody call you nigger, you tell him you is a Negro, and your name is Miss Liza Mixon. The more I thought of that, the more I liked it, and I made up my mind to do just what he told me to. My job was minding the calves back while the cows was being milked. One evening I was minding the calves, and old Master came along. He say, what you doing, nigger? I say, real pert like, I ain't no nigger. I's a Negro, and I'm Miss Liza Mixon. Old Master sure was surprised, and he picks up a switch and starts at me. Law, but I was scared. I had never had no whipping, so I run as fast as I can to Grandma Gracie. I hid behind her, and she say, what's the matter with you, child? And I say, Master John going to whip me. And she say, what you done? And I say, nothing. She say, you know better. And about that time, Master John got there. He say, Gracie, that little nigger sassed me. She say, Lawsy, child, what does ail you? I told him what the Yankee soldier told me to say, and Grandma Gracie took my dress and lifted over my head and pinched my hands and sides, and Lawsy, how she whipped me. And I dasn't holler loud either. I just said that to the wrong person. The authentic content of these reports can touch and teach many adolescents. Quite a few which I did not read take a strong heart and stomach. Slavery, as a matter of fact, was not good.
Yeah, so, this is the thing. You have stories of children being born and sold back into slavery, to other groups. even think low dignified ideas, calling people derogatory names and then having them have the name of the enslaver and then him finding out and beating them, all this kind of weird stuff. So yeah, I think it's important to do this. I think it's very important and there's tons of, I think when a lot of time we come with the ideologies we come out here, some people are very shocked and stuff, but I think we are really conquered on the head, as in like collectively black people have no friends, and that's a very important ideology to know, to remember, because ultimately no one's gonna really make you fix the things that happened in the past because of it, and they're gonna try to ignore certain things, and no one's gonna look at the behavioral patterns of black people and connect it. This is collective, by the way, connect it to some of the traumas of the past. Everything that we think is good. Like I said, we live in the era of error. If it isn't about black families, black economics, black health, it's bad. Let's put it that way. If it doesn't focus on those things, I'm just sure it's going to focus on things that doesn't help us, and it's going to benefit other people groups. So that's why you need a lifestyle like we're promoting here to keep you on track and to remember the ancestors, and to not, it's to not just go wayward and just do things that isn't in our collective best interest. Cool, very important topic there. Let me get rid of that for now. So that was a very quick, okay, half an hour, we're doing good. So that was Turn Pain into Power. That's it. We discussed how showing the painful past of black people can help the community focus on black issues. Let's read some of the comments. She disciplined her, perhaps to save her from the master's punishment. I could imagine how terrifying and confusing it was to be an enslaved child. Yeah, that's the thing, Another one, big up is B. There has been a book called Black Pain by Terry Williams that speaks about this same topic. I'll put that there for you. Yeah, this is the thing. It's hard times, and I think one of the motivations for me pushing forward is also, I every week I go through hundreds of comments of black people and non-black people just saying, oh, slavery or Jim Crow or whatever. I mean, even apartheid was 1994, but all these things happened before. But I think sometimes what you want to do is you want to document them and show them very, in full color, audio, video, and really collect this together, because I think they try to make the historical past of black people some kind of fantasy, and it allows them to not have to own up to any of the things that is deserved. Also, I do not talk about reparations because I feel that you're lazy or you're trying to get a handout, whatever it is. It's because it's something that is old or crude, but I don't use it for that term. I use it because I try to demonstrate to black people that black people have no friends, and you can use how quickly non-black people reject and disrespect the concept of reparations, and also how they here's one. This is all gonna be gospel to you. What they're gonna say is, forget about slavery of your own people. Today there's slavery going on, and they'll mention a country, maybe Africa or Yemen or somewhere, and they go, you should be focused on that. And and then you say, well, you might have an uncle and he might be killed, and you go to the police station, and would you like them to say, well, your uncle's been killed, but in Japan there's another man who's been killed, why don't you focus on that? You see, this is they've always got these techniques they do to bad intentions, whatever it is. We went over that last week. So yeah, so there's just certain key things you can learn. But now we're going to segue into how to incorporate. Okay, this is from last week. How to incorporate biracial people into the Black Betterment spaces. We discussed why biracial members of the community might find it hard to focus on Black Betterment. So yeah, I think last week we had a brother jump in. He jumped in before, and him and maybe one or a few others are very consistent in their dedication to non-Black Betterment stuff. And sometimes it's like trying to understand how the life might be for a person who's one black parent and one European parent, and why some of them might have a lot of confusion, why some might have a lot of vitriol, and how some might not know where they fit in, it's important to understand that. And then once you know that, you can as a community decide how should we work, incorporate, or whatever it is, people with one black parent. Also, we have the reverse anxiety where we have black people, two black parents, or darker skinned black people, where You know, they're bent on you're not black, and we are black, and then they go we're not black and you are black. And I think for me, I think that's a big distraction about the importance of these titles of black and white or whatever it is. It's very important for a certain degree, but that's why we use the term whenever there's confusion, the ABC community, which is the Afro-Black connected community, or the African Black and color, the African Black and Creole, or Aboriginal Black, and you name it. It changes whatever you want because that's how branding works. But I think for me, I really don't like focusing on who is black, who is not black. It's like, are you connected to black people? Are you Afro connected? Are you ABC? Because now we can move on. It's like, now that we're saying that, we can now track your trauma and see what actually might be causing it, and how it connects to how it overlaps and intersects with other parts of black community, and see if we can incorporate solutions. But at the same token, we also understand that some people have to be let go because they're too far gone. But there's always a door open if they ever need. So let's look at some stuff, how to incorporate and separate community. There you go. How to incorporate and separate community. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what we've got this stuff here. Like, newsflash, it literally is. If you're connected and you want to work and be a part of the solution, there's a door. But if you're connected and you want to sabotage, well, then there's no point coming walking that door. We're not gonna cry. No one's begging friends around here. It's not what we do, but we understand people's trauma might contribute to their behavioral patterns. So let's look at what we've got. What have I got here? I've got a lot of stuff here. So let's start with this, just describing the history of one drop rule, this kind of stuff, and how it works politically. That's quite interesting.
That's why I think it was great that you called your book One Drop. And for a lot of people out there who may not be familiar with what the One Drop rule is, as you mentioned, education is part of us kind of unpacking this. Can you explain what the One Drop, in a brief little history about what the One Drop rule was in this country?
Sure. So again, as I said earlier, the only function of race is to support racism, right? And at that time, historically,
very true. The only reason people discuss race is racism, and from a Black Betterment standpoint, the only reason we are discussing race is to recover from racism. You see, to protect yourself from racism.
Folks, and by folks I mean white folks, wanted to be clear about who was white and who was not, because whiteness is where freedom lived, right? If you were white, you were free. If you were black, you were not. I need to know who's free and who's not, right? And so at a time, fresh off the boat, if you will.
Very important. So especially in America and some of the Caribbean places, your race is literally, are you free or are you not? So when you, historical standpoint, the reason why many, from one standpoint, one parent, mulatto or mixed people were connected to black people much stronger is because there was nowhere else to go. And they were connected because they, by close proximity, lost the freedoms and there was nowhere to go. But then when the whole concept of passing came out, that's where people wanted to quickly pass and become European because they wanted freedom. So that's the history of those kind of shades and color stuff.
White, black, it was clear, visibly speaking. But as we also know,
that's right. One drop rule is not a rule for us, especially when it comes to created by Canada. Yeah. So what one drop rule is, it isn't a rule that we enforce or enforce it, but they're explaining how it worked in America. But also, like, once again, there's understanding connections to communities and how it works, whatever. And the people say if you're one drop, you're black. Some people don't like those terms. Some people prefer like mulatto, mixed of biracial and black people. Some black people push back like you're not black. If you need two black parents, those kind of stuff. All fantastic. We can debate it for 5 years, but I think for me, where I'm at the moment, I'm more concerned with the greater black community or the ABC community or the some people or whatever, of how everyone who's connected to this black thing has the opportunity to make a difference. So whether you're a diasporan black person or Afro-continental black person, you have one black person parentage. If you ever become conscious at a certain point in your life, there's a place for you. And regardless of the titles that yourself or others give you, you're connected, and that means because you're connected, you can practice Black Betterment. Let's carry on listen to the history.
European enslavers had a thing for raping African women. And so here come mixed race babies. Well, what do we do with these mixed race babies? Are they white? Are they black? Are they free? Are they enslaved? So we start coming up, and let me stop saying we, because it was not me. white folks start coming up with all kinds of classifications and understandings and rules and projections about who's free and who's not, who's white and who's not. So we see a lot, and I go through this in the book, but there's an evolution of the rules, if you will, right? But quite simply, it is to say that any child with any, let's say, one drop, they call it the white one drop rule of hypo descent. If I go into your family tree and I go back 5 generations, if even one person on that family tree is black, you are black. Because the goal was to save the purity, and that's the language that they use. They needed to save the purity of the white race. And literally, it's like one drop is enough, right, to destroy that. And so one drop of black blood is enough to make somebody black, whether we can see it or not. And if you have that one drop, then you are not white, not free.
Which is really interesting when you consider the number of white people who do have that one drop. I'm like, so y'all was going to eliminate yourselves.
But again, right, there are a lot of folks, if we rely upon that.
So that, historically, that's why there's some people where they show pictures of white people and you have a black person says that's a black man, and you're confused, like maybe that famous white person, and some will call them black. You go, why are you calling them black? And that's because in history time, if they found that they had a great grandma or grandma or even a partner who was black, regardless of their phenotype was, that they were registered as black. I think they even said, FBI. What's the FBI? I should know this offhand. In charge of the FBI. I'm forgetting. FBI. What's it? If you can write it down, if I find it, J. Edgar Hoover. That's what it came to mind. J. Edgar Hoover. I'm right. J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, some people say that maybe his grandparents were black or something. I don't know. But then he was like one of the biggest. And this would be, self-hating person, hating at least a black history anyway. So yeah, let's kind of listen for a bit.
Well, there are a lot of folks who are passing. I opened the book with an example of a woman, Susie Guillory Phipps, in the state of Louisiana, who lived her life as a white woman, and at the age of 43, applied for a passport to go on vacation with her husband, and she needed a copy of her birth certificate, which for whatever reason she didn't have. And she got a copy of her birth certificate, and it said she was colored. And she's like, oh no, it's been a mistake. Y'all sent me the wrong birth certificate. And they're like, no issue. So she sued the state of Louisiana and lost, and appealed and lost again. So if she's still alive on paper, she is colored. But if you look at her, looks like a white woman. And so, it's interesting growing up in New Orleans, and I know a lot of folks who could admit to the same thing. I'm not going to call it a game, but we have a specific skill. We can see that drop. I don't care what color your skin is and how you trying to move through this world. And I feel like maybe it's a defense mechanism historically, but it's like, we see you. We see how you trying to pass, but you want us. Because that's what the law said. You lucky enough to be free, but we see you. And we see the drop.
So when you, because obviously different countries have different things, but in America and some other places, this is why there is a comfortability of the different shades and lighter, brighter, high yellow, all these other terms in the black community, because it was governed by freedom. As in, you cannot escape here, regardless what it is. Big up, Brother Foster. What is this got to do with 2000 England? Mixed race people are legally separated by black people in the South Africa. Raven, you should Google critical thinking. So this is important. Brother Foster's coming here. We're doing a full. Today's topic is called, for you joining slightly late, brother, how to incorporate biracial people into black Betterment spaces. We discuss why biracial members of the community might find it hard to focus on black Betterment. And we're looking around. Mulattoes were a separate class in the Caribbean. Like I said, there was mulattoes, there was octoroons, there was Negroes, there was different classes and stuff. But what was interesting is they were all in the same community, and they all were not white. And they all had to build up Jamaica or the Caribbean where they're from. And even in the war, they had to the Haitian Revolution. There was the octoroon and the mulatto and the Negro the battalions and divisions, and they all had to try to free enslaved people, because that's what they were if they're mulatto. And even the free people of color who got their freedoms will have to fight, and they won. And so we should celebrate that. They knew what side they were fighting on. And then Fawcett Raven, you're not American. This is correct. I'm not American. So from the Black Betterment standpoint, we look at South Africa, Canada, the UK, continental Africa, the whole world really, to see how blackness and black and Africanity works. And we break down the rules and the sets that governs the land. We try to find a way to incorporate all histories into a lifestyle that we can practice to find solutions. And brothers like you are very important because you like stress test the things we do, because and you also give us an insight on your history and why you might be the way you are. So we do thank you for your contribution, Bill. Let's carry on listening to the.
You know, whether it's, you know, the shape of the face, the shape of the nose, a little tincture, a curl in the hair, we find a way to point that drop out. We recognize one another. But again, part of what I'm doing is saying, okay, we realize how messed up legally, right? How messed up historically this is. Are we going to accept the one drop rule as a defining characteristic of blackness, or are we going to not make up our own? Well, how are we defining blackness? What is it going to mean for us to be black? Who gets to be black and who doesn't?
You know, this conversation reminds me of some of the conversations that have been had about Meghan Markle, in the sense, there seemed to be a huge swath of people, I don't think it was our people, that didn't know she was black. And I was like, how?
Right, we see you.
I was like, I was confused. I was like, I just see a black woman. Like, did I miss something?
But you know what else too, Jamel? Generationally speaking, there's new language now. I think, at least for me, we didn't have certain, like, there wasn't the option to not be black.
So there you go as well. There wasn't really option to take anything else in certain places.
See what I'm saying? And so now moving forward,
even in the UK, they're like the mixed with black and mixed black concept wasn't in the IC3 and the stuff. It's relatively new. I think there's a brother who used to go to Speaker School, and he's got a lot of documentation about that. And it's relatively, and you're going to get even more stuff that comes in.
We've got biracial, we've got multi-generationally mixed, we've got all these words that new generations have access to. We didn't have access to that language. So what is that? There was nothing else for Meghan Markle to be. But now new generations have new language, so perhaps they saw the potential for her to be all these other things that we didn't.
So yeah, so I think brother Amos Wilson, I'm still trying to find this video that he made where he says this must be in the 90s, where he goes, I've noticed that there's a new kind of census where you can pick, I think it's biracial or mixed, and he says, I think that when this comes in, this will be a good tactic or technique to divide people who don't want to associate with black, or create a kind of confusion amongst who is and who isn't black. And he gave some other analysis as well. It was very interesting. I need to find that video. It was very interesting because remember, before there was no real consensus to do that. We're looking at history here.
And then you see her mother.
Yes, that's what I was like. You see her. I was like, yes, this is a black woman.
What else was this supposed to be? But again,
so yes, Asians do not unify with black people in the UK. I think you're talking to Brother Foster. Yeah, so yeah, black. In the UK they call it BAM, Black Asian Minority, something like that, I can't remember. But you tend to find that when they talk about Pakistanis, Indians, Bangladeshis, they use the term Asian. But when they talk about black or African, that's the kind of black African, black people. You look at the Afro-Caribbeans and African continental, and then there's the other, which I assume includes African Americans and any other kind of like diaspora and black. This is in the UK, by the way.
Generationally, there was no other option.
Now, when
Brother says people need to stop looking at race through an American lens. Well, I think if you have purpose behind racial categories, so if you're just saying a race for this, that, and the third, then sure, whatever. But I think if you have a purpose, like you're trying to find constructive members of the community to fix things, then you will need race, because what you're trying to fix is a racial group or a racial collective to find solutions. I think sometimes people get in the name game and say, I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, okay, once you've said that, what happens next with that definition? What are you doing with that definition to do something? What is that? And I think that's the bigger important question.
You first self-published it back in 2013. Why did you wind up choosing to
Very true. We are having a worldview, but we can and should focus us on UK. Definitely are.
publishing route for this book?
Because I couldn't get a book deal. What's so interesting is I started the project, and it started out as something that was living on the web, Facebook, social media, with conversations that we were having.
So this is another. This is a
alters.
So this is a sister in America. We call another sister interpretation of her. This is, I think, more of a right-leaning woman.
Specifically asked me on live TV about why is it important for me to say I'm biracial versus just Black, and then pointed out the example of, well, our president, Barack Obama, says he's Black. And I said in 2014 pretty much what I said in 2021. Okay, congratulations to him. And I said this, was raised by his white mother and his white grandmother, and his Black father was nowhere around. He wrote a book on that. This is not breaking news. I said, but that's his choice. If I'm asked, I'm so proud of my Black side and my white side. I'm proud of how I am made, the courage that my parents had in 1970 and 71.
So when you talk to these kind of groups and stuff, what you have to understand is, and maybe Foster could jump in and help as well, what a lot of people are conflating is they're thinking that, you have to be ashamed of something, you have to ignore something, or you can't be part of this, part of that. I mean, how a person wants to identify the truths of themselves is fine. I think from a Black Betterment standpoint, it's like, who is welcome to do activities? And that's what it boils down to. And these are the rules of the activities. So it is Black first, Black focus. So whether you are married to, or you have a parent or a grandparent, or you have one parent, two, but whatever it is, cool, whatever. But what are you doing for the community group of Black people in general? And that's where sometimes we get kind of lost and people start talking about feelings and I have a parent who's from this country. I'm like, yeah, that's great. It's nice. But it's like at the end of the day, it's just a level of kindness. Like, okay, the question is asked, can a person from this part of Africa or this part of the Caribbean or with one Black parent or wherever it is, can they engage in this thing that you're describing on this broadcast? The answer is yes. But there's a caveat in it, and the caveat is like you have to be 100% Black focused. So then what you tend to find is people who are biracial, they are Black focused, so they might use terms as mixed Black or biracial Black person or just a Black person. They focus on Black because they're synchronized in that way, as in they understand. There's no real value in trying to wear a non-Black card somewhere in a Black organization because it just doesn't work that way. This has nothing to do with forgetting identity or this kind of stuff. It's just, I guess, how people operate. Let's see. There's a chat going on in the back. Let's see, angry Black woman. Maybe you should start. Yeah. So, but I remember with Brother Foster. For those who tune in, we have a brother who's identified as biracial, and I guess this topic is kind of around similar brothers like him, where there is a kind of conflict, disagreements in including Black people including people with one Black parent in Black community stuff, and I think there's much trauma that seems to have gone on. But one of the things we're also trying to pack as well, and this, remember when we said that Black people are collective and inadequate, and that includes people with one Black parent as well. And what we mean by that is what you'll never find is a strong, hard anger towards the enslavers, the Europeans, or the parents of the European, or why haven't you fixed the planet, whatever. The hatred or the anger comes towards the Black side, or the Black community, even though it's the European side, or the Arab, or whichever side that has the power in that particular region and kind of creates the rules for the region. They will always have downward hatred and punch downwards from those two dynamics, that is. And this is very telling. This is a very important part. And this is the internalized challenge. So even though you have two Black people, two Black parents who has internalized challenges and self-hatred, we see a similar element in those with one Black parent, and where the defense will always be for the Europeans or the Arabs or whoever, but never for the enslaved, the mistreated. And that's very telling. That's very telling. even though other communities will not allow them. And so this is part of our learning as well. Foster, do you ever go to any white Betterment YouTube channels by any chance? It'd be interesting. This is the question that was asked. And what we find is, and this is what we're dealing with. I mean, right now we're talking about how to include people with one black parent, but the bigger case study is the psychology and the anxiety that comes from mixed unions and how parents fail to. There are some who integrate their children really well, as they showed you something like, I'm going to raise you as people are going to treat you. So you have the phenotype of a black person, so I'm going to raise you that way, because that no one's going to come and tell you you're this or that. And I'm gonna raise you with that kind of history and that kind of history.
What I've gone through is nothing. It's the least I can do is to stand up for both of my parents and say, no. I'm so blessed to have been born into this family based on what they went through.
Yeah, so remember that a person of mixed heritage has to go through the concept of knowing that one parent is from the enslaved class and one is from the enslaved class. And that can really, and from a historical standpoint, be very taxing. So there has to be a mercy. Some people don't even get to that kind of level. But that's something that should always be remembered, and there should be a kindness that you show a person. And if and also there's also the dynamics of what Brother Foster was saying before, as in being of two different heritages and one despising the other. What you tend to find is, for the most part, it's the non-black despising the black. Let's hear a little testimony from a woman.
Was a racist white woman, and she hated black people, which is crazy because look at me, guys. I'm black. I'm black. And when I tell you, she used to ask me all the time why I didn't have blonde hair, blue eyes, and light skin. I'm like, Mom, you're the one who ended up with the black man. Why are you asking me why I'm not light-skinned? Like, you should be asking yourself.
So first of all, when you say she isn't biracial, she looks black, what the sister is saying is she has a non-black parent, I should say, and a black parent, and she obviously has come out a certain way with phenotypically, and she's giving you a testimony. I assume you're talking about the woman on the screen.
Why I'm not light-skinned, okay? And throughout.
And that's the thing. We covered genetics and genetic inheritance, and the racial lottery when you take from your parents can really vary on how a person looks. Yeah, well, that's the thing. What the brother's saying, she was probably adopted. She looks more black than you, Raven. Yeah. So this is what Brother Foster said. So this is the thing. The whole dynamics of black people in the diaspora, in the continent, and through lineage and mating and all this kind of stuff, you get a diverse look of black people, and sometimes it is a lottery. But what we're saying is they have to understand that they're all connected by blood or by phenotype or by lineage or experience, you name it, right? And it's interesting to come across brothers like yourself who are constantly trying to divide, constantly trying to pick holes, constantly trying to get reactions, and hoping the family can see how brothers like me react to brothers like that, because this kind of broadcast teaches us about the pain they go through. So this brother Foster has gone through tremendous pain, and the pain he's gone through has motivates him to go onto platforms to try to derail it. And this is a very unique kind of pain, but only he can explain what it is. And when he gets courage, he's always welcome to jump on. Let's read more what he's saying. Raven, come on, bro. Them African dons in London don't look at you as a black man, and we both know it. Good point. So we say this. I'm not too sure what you're saying, but if we look at, and so remember, we always have to have ways of operating when brothers speak this way. So we talk about the 3 A's of beneficial blackness, and this is what brothers are going to learn at the moment. And that is, we can give 10% to your aesthetics, and that's amazing. We can give 10% to your ancestry. That's amazing. So both me, Foster, I have 2 black parents. Foster has 1 black parent. Some of the brothers have 2 black parents, 4 black parents, 4 black grandparents, all this kind of stuff, right? But ultimately, these are beautiful things, but they only really take up 20% in your beneficial blackness. 80% of what we focus on is your action. So once you're a member of the community, you're the ABC connected, regardless of your light skin, diaspora, in the continent, you name it. What are you doing? And that's the key. That's the key that we try to teach here, Bro Foster. As in, the people here are coming here to actually do something constructive for Black people. We're not trauma bonding, or we're not trying to self-sabotage because of self-hatred. We're trying to do this. So we ask you, brother, is there anything that you're doing that's constructive for? I know you don't like to be associated with the Black community because you have one Black parent and you want to be either in the colored community or the biracial or the limbo, or maybe potentially white community in future time. We don't know. But is there anything you're doing for that community particularly that you think you're best pleased with? Like there's work you've done that tries to better that community rather than coming into the Black community, which you don't associate with, to talk about African dons and Rap Raven, this kind of stuff. You know, Rap Raven looks Egyptian. He's DNA. He might be another master for art. Okay, so you're talking about. Oh, so the thing is, you must understand some very good history of Black, especially FOI and stuff. If you know these names, so this is very interesting when you see these brothers who have a very good history in certain things, but they use their knowledge to, I guess, dismantle. Is that what you're trying to do? Who knows? But brother, we have a thing for you. So the question was asked, like, what do you do for your community, just so we can learn? I bought a free stick of plantain from a Nigerian shop so I can support Black business. You might have to buy a bit more than that, but you know, and the fact that you eat plantain shows that, you know, you could have said what was it, cucumber sandwich, or whatever is the European side. I'm not too sure what part of Europe they come from, but I know cucumber sandwich is something that is best pleasing for many. So you know, that's good. So yeah, so brother, this is an interesting time. Let me see if we got some other stuff here. Dum 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 dum. Where are we? What? But remember, we were talking about open door elitism. So whenever Black people come, or people who are connected to Black people but don't wish to be, which is plentiful people, we have to say that no, they are loved. And they are loved, but you have to try to recognize trauma. And how you can recognize trauma is the constant spewing of separation, constant spewing of hate, and never accepting anything good, but always pushing things negative. And some people, they can't help it. But that's why you practice open elitism, where you say, look, if you're connected to the Black community in any way, you're welcome to join and do good works. And we will work on the behalf of those who are loved, but you can never be those who are important. So essentially, this broadcast is looking for those who are important, those who can help Black people in a certain kind of way and be consistent. But we also give you the tools to recognize self-sabotaging people. Yeah. But Brother Foster, you are very entertaining, but you're always welcome back. You're always welcome. Like Brother Foster, and there's some other brothers from another time as well who we haven't seen in a long time. But the concept of Black Betterment really triggers so many people. For different reasons, and he can explain his own reasons. But you know you're doing something good when where is this thing gone? Is it here? There you go. Yeah. So yeah, you traumatic meetings and tactical meetings, isn't it? So when you're talking to a brother, by the things or sister, by the things they say, you can establish whether the meeting you're having is a traumatic meeting or a tactical meeting. So for example, I might go on a show and I might say, guys, there's an issue where, you know, some of the sisters are feeling low and we need to have a strategy to make them feel good. It sounds good. Why don't we try to focus on getting women businesses, or why don't we try to get women represented more in magazines or something? And now you're in a tactical thing. You're using tactics. You know, you're going, yeah, why don't we do that and do this? And why don't we try to get more women hired, Black women hired in certain kind of businesses? And someone goes, yeah, I've got this idea. And the Black woman, yeah, it's an amazing idea, right? That's when you're like a tactical meeting. But then sometimes you deal with people with trauma, and literally straight away you go, so guys, yeah, we're going to try to represent Black women better. And we realize there's some challenges going on. So goes, you know, when I was young, I was bullied in school and they called me ugly and they hated my face. And you're like, oh, this is now trauma. This is now, and I don't want to be around. And you can incite light-skinned people or Nigerian people or Jamaicans or women with big hair, with short. It's some kind of trauma because of what it might be, right? And then you go, okay, now we're no longer in the tactical mode, we're in the traumatic mode. We have to deal with this person kindly. We have to go make sure that we don't want to add to their trauma too much in this meeting. So it's like, how you feeling, beloved? Are you okay? Would you like a glass of water? Would you like a cucumber sandwich? This kind of stuff, whatever. And then make sure that they're okay. And then what you do is, you look out for them, but you don't invite them to any kind of meetings anymore. They're not really for it because these concepts are triggering for them. And that's why you want to give people a certain level of training when you do big works to make sure that the content that you're dealing with doesn't trigger them. Brother Foster is triggered by concepts of trying to incorporate people with one black parent who we know have been mistreated and giving them a space to actually do a constructive work. This triggers him tremendously. So he will then trigger the traumatic meeting, not really a tactical meeting, because he'll be incapable of finding solutions because he's been triggered because of a concept, and sometimes what people say and what people feel to do things. So there's something that's being mentioned that actually is triggering, but he might not have the I guess the courage at the moment to mention it. But when we're in that kind of place, it's only kindness we want to show to the brother. So brother, know your love. And know that if you ever want to come on the show, we'll got the pace you need. But you do raise a good case study because you are confident in your transgressions, and you understand your motivations. And I suspect you go to forums with many biracial people, and there's many things they discuss, and there's challenges, and you argue amongst yourselves, and this kind of stuff. But it's also interesting to hear your thing. But what all family must remember is notice how the brother tried to attack me personally, and how every word he did was push back love to him. And that's important because what we observe is this is pain talking, and what they try to do is they try to create division. I think last week they tried to mention other channels and maybe in a kind of way, I don't know, maybe yes and a. So let them know they're loved, and let them know that when they're ready, there's a space for them for us to have a traumatic meeting to try to find solutions to their particular challenge. And only in the future time when they're ready can we have a tactical meeting about what we're going to do about this problem. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, let's read some of the comments, see if anything constructive has happened. Probably not, but while I've been rambling on. Since when has plantain and hard food been called soul food? Okay, so I'm just checking the plantain. Yeah, plantain is Caribbean, if you don't know. And then dig in a bigger hole. You're angry, suggest turkey was dry. Okay, this is some next thing. I'm not angry. I'm just curious why you won't say your people are from. So usually on the internet, when people ask you where you're from, take or give, they're trying to find a way to remove blackness from you. And remember what I told you about the technique. So we're learning today, family, if you want. Because when you go out to help black people, unfortunately, the people who are going to most likely try to sabotage you are black people. When we say we're collectively inadequate and collectively have no friends, it's part of that process. So what they'll do is, if you're a dark-skinned, say, African man, they'll go, well, you're continental African. You're not black because you sold black people, and you never were put into enslavement, so you never were registered as black. You were registered as Nigerian African, right? So they use that to separate continental Africans from blackness. That's the technique. If you're Caribbean or light skin, they'll say, "Oh, you're too light. You've got European in your DNA." There's people who are from Ireland who look darker than you, or whatever it might be, right? And they go, "You're not from Africa. You're not continental, whatever." So they reverse it. You see, so that same person who's telling you you're not black enough will then say the same thing to someone else, but reverse it, and that's because they're fishing for ways to divide. You see. They're fishing for ways to divide. So that's why when you can say, okay, black is cool, but we have terms like ABC community, Afro-Black connected. So, if you're connected to the Afro-Black and you're consistent, then, is what it is. So then, obviously, these words make it hard. So they have to go back to drawing board and find a new way to divide. And they come back with their other things. And that's what we're dealing with. Let's see what... so that's when these brothers are asking where you're from. I suspect that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pinpoint a way to unsynchronize you so they can get under your skin. But we're doing very good learning here, family. This is, unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't like going public with some of their works, but if you do preach any kind of Black Betterment, you will tackle the anti-Black, self-hating Black person, the self-sabotaging Black person, and they will try to use your own blackness against you. They'll try to use what you do, what you've done to make you stop doing it. And I think last week, let's tackle it again, because we tackled it 2 weeks ago. And it's a very good thing to remember. Sometimes I always forget certain things because it's, I don't look at it for a long time and my mind isn't as good as it once was. But what was that thing we made last few weeks ago? Is it here? Please say it's here. There we go. So bad intentions, we broke that whenever you talk about Black stuff in public, Black people, unsynchronized Black people and self-sabotaging Black people, and then obviously anti-Black racist white people or Arabs or whoever you name it, non-Black people in general who despise Black people, whoever they are, they'll go through the bad intentions, and that breaks down to, if you try to find a way to do something that's beneficial to Black people, they'll try to make themselves the beneficiaries, so they benefit from it. And that's the first thing. That's the first thing they're trying to do. If that fails, then they're going to try to annihilate it. This is the A. They're going to try to get rid of it, make sure it doesn't exist, so you can't benefit, no one can benefit. If that can't work, then they're going to try to delay it. I think if we look at Brother Foster, if we were trying to break down what he's trying to do now, I think he does. I don't think he thinks he can benefit from Black Betterment in his mind. I don't know why. And I think he's tried to annihilate it, but at a certain point, he's realizing that is going to happen. Like, there's too much Black love in the room. It's too hard to annihilate it. So now he's trying to delay it. And the delay is this kind of like, oh, you don't look Black enough. Where are you guys from? What country is that guy from? Lady, where is she like that? And this is a delay tactic. And that's what I'm saying. Always use these things as case studies. Because when you use what the self-sabotaging Black person does as a case study, it allows their time wasting to be actually part of the learning process, you see, rather than the actual effective, like, he's effectively delayed time. We're now going, wow, like, he's doing what we want to study. And we can now ask questions to see, but try to be calm, because if you don't be calm, then they try to like cause arguments, whatever. And that's why you'll notice that the questions we're actually asking, the brother cannot articulate or answer, because he's at stage 3, the D, the delay for bad intention. So remember this little model, it's on the grid there. Whenever you try to come together, let's read it. Non-Black people and self-sabotaging Black people being aware of Black people deciding to practice Black Betterment can trigger a social systematic phenomenon known as bad intentions, and that's benefit and delay intentions. The intentions will go through the 3 stages. So we saw stage 1 benefit. Other groups will want to benefit or be the beneficiaries of ideas, actions, and institutions dedicated to Black Betterment. If that doesn't work, then it's annihilate. Other groups will want to shut down any ideas, actions, and institutions dedicated to Black Betterment. And then the number 3, delay. Other groups will want to delay any ideas, actions, and institutions dedicated to Black Betterment. So what you're seeing here, brothers and sisters, you're seeing it actually live, and we see it week to week with the self-sabotaging Negroes and stuff. But when you see it, this is how it is, and you could use these models to go out into the world. And as soon as you see it, rather than be triggered by the words or the behavior patterns of the unsynchronized brothers and sisters, actually look, these are bad intentions, and look, they must be at delay now. Oh no, he's going to annihilate. No, he's trying to benefit. This group is trying to benefit, or he's trying to make others benefit from our hard work. Look. Can you see that? So, like, for example, like, you might be talking about reparations and stuff, and then you might get a European go, well, you should pay us reparations because we ended slavery and then we won the ships. And you saw on TV, there's many TV interviews at the moment where Europeans are trying to say, if there's any reparations, it should go to the Europeans who died to free the enslaved people, you see. And you see what I'm saying? And then you get the other goes, yeah, no reparations, no, it's past tense, can't happen, it's gone. And then there's the third one. Well, we have to study it. So you see the stages. You see the stages. So these are interesting things. But once again, family, these unsynchronized brothers and sisters will come to your shows and try to slow it down. Use them as a case study. As soon as they become a case study, we are now learning. So they automatically fail. And then we have it. And then if you're familiar with the show from past years and stuff, you realize there's been many self-sabotaging Negroes. And you'll find they come in different forms. They could be American, Jamaican, from the UK, from Canada. They could have 1 Black parent, 2 Black parent. They could be very dark skin, very light skin. And what you start realizing that actually, this Black community thing, it's like there's so many combinations of chaos, you see. And that's why we have to focus on the small few, those who are important, you see. Those who are important. So family, I'm leaving it on here for you to take a screen grab. Please remember this model, the bad intentions. Whenever you go on the internet and you go, guys, I've got an idea. And go, what's that? Let's come together and fix our community. Then you're going to have they're going to proud rap around the wall. It's like, when you say help your community, are you talking about Black people? Oh, yeah, I am. Oh, well, what about other people? What about if you're married to other people? That's cool, but we're going to focus on, Black people because we're the ones who most need the help and we're the ones who are less focused on ourselves. Yeah, but don't you think you should include like the Pakistani man and this kind of stuff? It's like, well, they've got their own thing going, aren't they? No, but don't you think? Not really, no. Well, if that's the case, I think you shouldn't do it because it's bad, it's negative, it's divisive. Don't do this concept that you're dealing with. Don't do it. Just shut it down. They go, no. We're in a bad place. We haven't recovered from being conquered. They go, okay, but let me think about it. Before you start. Let me actually go ask other people and I'll get back to you. They go through the 3 stages, you see. So, and obviously, brother, your name is some of the brothers who come on. Yes, I don't, there are brothers, and we can spot them straight away. And the only time what they're doing is beneficial is when they become the case study. When what they're doing is what we're learning from. And then we can, like I said, the reason why I don't react to some of these brothers and sisters and know they're loved is because they do it so many times that you can actually create a system around what they're doing. You can be well educated on self-sabotage. It's just like amazing. And then we're all in the know. And what happens as a community, we go on code. Like as soon as we see the behavior, it's like, oh, there's a self-sabotaging Negro. He's over there. Like he's actually going to sabotage what we're doing. And the original reaction is let's get angry. Like he's making fun of my shade, my color, my creed, my tribe, my this, that, and the third. But he's doing it because he's trying to delay. He's trying to delay. He's trying to cause an argument because we know that you got a 1 hour segment dedicated to Black Betterment. And if we argue, no black man gets done. Amazing. So that's how we have to think of it. I think it's very important. Don't compare me to those two black men. Being a pro-mulatto is not the same as being the same thing as two self-hating, and he used the words coons. So those who, this is like a EastEnders or West Enders kind of show going at the moment. And what we're dealing with is there are two black people who come onto the channel, and they're very similar to the brother's behavior because he doesn't identify with them because he's got one black parent, they've got two. He doesn't want to be associated. But what we find that even though they might have different combinations of how they exist, they both seem to share the same kind of self-sabotaging, mythos. You see, and we can see it. But obviously, sometimes you might get African person who doesn't want to be compared to a Caribbean, or African American doesn't want to be compared to a Puerto Rican or whatever it might be. And this is tribalism and we're different. I agree. There's much difference in it, and I think when you try to tell people, I accept that a biracial, a two black parent, a dark skinned person, a light skinned person, a continental, a woman, a man, all this kind of stuff. I understand that there's many differences between those groups, but we focus on what is similar. You see. Isn't that a very simple solution? Even though there's many differences in the people groups, we focus on the overlapping similarities because it's in those similarities where challenges are met, you see? And that's very important. Very important. Yeah. Yes. But the thing is, Bro Foster, we're going to call you self-hating because you have a black father. And if the thing you're saying is against black people, that is a form of self-hatred because you're a black father, you see. And unfortunately, in the paradigm we live in, the black man is still dominated by the legacy of what the white man did. So, we're still in the process of trying to fix it. Once again, family, you're welcome to jump on. Now, I've spoken for an hour. We've showed some videos. Let me see if there's anything that I should really update you. The area I talk about that a bit. Yeah. Another thing. So, and this goes to even the brothers who are conscious and they've got their own concepts of what blackness is and who is black and who isn't black. The truth of the matter is we are in the era. So in the era, black people being completely dominated and mistreated in mass was the beginning of the era. This is a trans-Saharan slave trade in 650 AD. If black people don't have a guide, Black Betterment, most actions will only benefit other groups. So what we're saying here is we've been looking for the historical documents of when this thing of blackness was tracked, where someone started the concept, where someone being identified as this black thing, this black word, or this ever-connecting concept, where it was formalized and templated into a mistreatment based upon this premise. And I think when the trans-Saharan slave trade in 650, where the black slave was worth less than Turkish slave and the raisin head and those kind of terms, whatever, we're seeing, at least from the Arab world, the beginning of anti-black racism. Obviously, this concept of enslaving Africans then was copied by the Portuguese, who then in turn was copied by the English, who mastered the art, and then expanded it to like one drop rule and Negro and African blood and all these kind of concepts and mulatto and all this kind of stuff, right? But we're seeing that when you live in a world that generally hates black people, that means we live in the era. Yeah, so that means everything we think is right without any guidance will be wrong. Anything we think, like we've seen brothers, they've come on, some rappers, some singers, some modern trendy people. And as soon as you talk about Black Betterment, they go, yeah, but we need to do this for everyone. We need to marry everyone, this kind of stuff. They think that's right because they are in the era. They have no guidance. So when you say, okay, well, how do black people benefit from this concept? They have no answer, you see? So we understand that they are in the era. where everything they think is going to be incorrect as it pertains to black people progressing if they don't have a guide. We are saying that guide is Black Betterment. Yeah, where you have a B1 mentality in everything you do. And this is what we would like the community, you guys who listen today and the future times, help us refine and promote. And you can see the self-sabotaging as we speak in 3D at the moment, and understand that we have to form ways to communicate and to delegate where we can navigate around many of these challenges that we go through. Let's see if there's are you guys still talking to Brother Foster in the group? Let's see if there's anything that we can learn from it from a case study standpoint. At least I agree with the okay, where are we? Nah, big man like Foster, absolutely self-hating. Cosmic, how can I be self-hating? I don't hate black people and I'm not black. Right, cool. Would you say you're connected to Black, Foster? And if you say you're connected to Black, does that mean that you are allowed to do activities that benefit the Black community? Would you say yes or no to that? What would you say, Brother Foster? Because keep it in mind, because what you're seeing here is you've made a distinction between Black people and biracial people, and that's fine. But what we're saying here, because of the kindness of the concept and the code, people with one Black parent, so-called biracial people, are welcome to participate and benefit from what is happening here. Do you have any concepts in whatever you're doing where people with two Black parents can benefit? Are you just the kind of person you just want to turn up to the party and eat the wine and leave, or drink the food, or whatever it is and just go? Is that you don't bring any kind of thing to support you? Just come, take and leave, and then complain about not being cucumber sandwiches and this kind of thing. Let's carry reading. But if you're not Black, cool, but you do have a Black parent, you have a Negro in your bloodstream. This is the communication in the group, by the way. Do you feel more white than Black? Interesting question. This asking the Brown Force. Remember, we're doing a case study of a biracial person. So the topic today, just and that's why we have to give thanks to the brother Foster, because he's allowing us to do the case study on his behavioral pattern. So because we're doing something how to incorporate biracial people in the Black Betterment spaces. So actually, this is in 3D. This is in real time. We're seeing a biracial brother, a so-called biracial brother, and he's not best pleased with Black people in general. And he doesn't want to be associated. And not that anyone's forcing, because for every one who doesn't, there's one who does. But we're just studying the case study, what motivates and what techniques will be used by unsynchronized brothers and sisters when it comes to sabotaging, or what is the original motivation behind the vitriol that comes from so many brothers and sisters in the community. Let's carry on reading. I feel mixed. Why is it so hard for you to understand? Now, so Brother Foster, if we told you a concept, remember we're learning, family, so let's listen to the response. If we told you a concept where we say when we say Black people, we are talking about the ABC community, which is the Afro-Black connected community, meaning that we recognize continental Africans, diasporan Africans, Africans with one parent, Africans who don't identify as African, light-skinned Black people, dark-skinned Black people with one parent, one great-grandparent, or whatever it might be. So you don't have to be cool Black, but we're saying that we might use it as a colloquial term or just a throwaway language. But if we are saying that the ABC community should work together, do you have a response on that? So now it isn't, see, remember, because we're learning our family. So now let's just say that here's right. Let us not call a person with two or one Black parent Black. I'm being okay with that for days. Let's call them mixed, biracial, or any of the 5,000 mulatto, whatever 5,000 techniques people want to be called. Now they've got that name. Are you okay with a Black person and a biracial person working in unison for the greater betterment of the ABC community? Remember, we're case studying. Let's see what the brother says. So, brother, do you have an answer to that? Because right now, once again, there's going to be in the chat group, for those you can't see because you might be listening on radio or whatever, there's a discussion going on in the group. And the brother is saying, I am not Black, I'm mixed. And you see this argument online. We don't really engage in that. Be what you want, who cares? And no one's begging friend here. Never have, never will. But we open spaces for those who are connected, ABC, and you're always welcome to join. So now we've got this new concept of ABC family. Let's see if we can see a different in motivation. Let's see if we can see a different in communication, as the Blackness is what's the scale. Like, I'm not Black. Black is this and that. I'm not Black. I'm mixed. That sounds like great. Fantastic, sexy words. Now, person with one Black parent. Would you be willing to work with a person with two Black parents to find solutions? Like, keep in mind, family, what am I demonstrating? I'm being consistently kind, I'm being open-hearted, and I'm showing the community the love that the enemy has never shown us. And we want to see if people come in, do they support the enemy of black people more than black people, even when you are showing consistent kindness? Case study, everyone. We're learning. Today's topic, how to incorporate biracial people into black spaces. Let's go. So, more topic, let's see. Big up everything is everything. Okay, have you experienced anything from your dad's culture? So it's black people who made it clear to you first that you are not black. I am not some coconut white crew up in Cornwall. Don't know what that means, but you know what it means, so let us know. Foster, I'm here. Foster's here seeking therapy again. Yes, and this is one of the good places because there's a kindness you get here, but there's also a sternness. There's also a sternness, and I'm very proud of the community of how consistent we are this. Those who are joining, how to incorporate biracial people into the Black Betterment spaces. We will do some invites in future shows. We did actually do one show where we invited a sister, and she was biracial herself, I think. And she did go through anxiety in that one. And then there were some others who were ingredients and they understood, but then they were also raised Pan-African and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying, teaching children young about Black spaces and importance of Blackness and Black historical figures. Very important. Very important. Because if not, in this day and age, you will interject confusion, and it will offend Brother Foster to say he's going through confusion, but unfortunately, this might be a byproduct of that. But then once again, only he can defend that claim or not. So, I mean, I don't want to cut the fantastic talk that's going on. I do have to get something. It's 11 to, okay, so been going for 1.5 hours. But yeah, so let's see if there's any videos I can play just before I potentially end the show. If there's any that we didn't part. Oh, speaking of the biracial thing, whatever. These are some topics. This is more so to black men, more particularly dark-skinned black men. But this is the psychosis we're talking about being conquered. So let's have a sneak peek on the boutique. This is the UK because my brother Foster wants the UK. Let's see what this is the. So what you're finding, there's a lot of black men where it's like there is this kind of flex, and obviously it's algorithm bait stuff. But talking to white women about loving black men, and no matter what they're talking about, it seems to always go there. So let's look at the UK to see what they say. Hooray!
Are you evangelizing?
I'm evangelizing against Tommy Robinson.
I don't really get into politics though. That's not really my thing.
So there's a black man talking to a European lady, and there's a guy called Tony Robinson, and he's seen as a racist guy, and some people don't like him, some people like him, but there's a white woman who don't like him. As a black man, he goes, I'm not even into politics. Fair enough. He wants to talk to the white woman though. Let's see what he's saying.
Okay, until he comes to kill you, and then you wish that.
No, he can't kill me. I've got the black man blood.
Okay.
So he's obviously comedies with black man blood, he can't be killed. Actually, having the black man blood is what will probably get you killed. That's something we have to tackle. That they're coming for that black man blood.
Excellent. That's exactly what my son would say.
So she said that's what my son would say. So that's a European woman, and she obviously has either an adopted son or a quote unquote biracial son. And let's see how this goes.
Exactly. You have a black son?
Mixed race.
Oh, okay. So you like black men?
So obviously the black man wants to have the white woman that's black man. That's something that many black men who have these shows, they really want to know. It's very important for them.
I'm not going to answer that question.
She doesn't want to answer the question. A bit of an awkward question. I don't know if that was the topic of the show. It was about racism, but there you go.
What kind of question is that?
There you go. So the black man there. So there was a question that came in. Why only dark-skinned men, Raven? Good question. So technically, biracial, light-skinned, and dark-skinned men all share a connection to wanting to be a potential connection to want to be close to Europeanness and self-hatred, unfortunately, whether in the back of the mind or the front of the mind. But what we tend to find is the darker you are, the more pressure you can be under to have self-hatred, you see. A direct self-hatred, as in try to move further away from blackness, but not having the opportunity if you are developing the self-hatred. So that's why we see a lot of dark-skinned black men doing these kind of posts. This is we were going to cover also, the baby test where they give the babies and they ask them which one's ugly, this one, that. We also covered, unfortunately, it was very heartbreaking, some of the dark-skinned brothers who are rappers in the States and around the world as well, but saying how they never want to marry a dark-skinned woman because they don't want their baby to like them. This is obviously something that needs to be unpacked. It's obviously doesn't work in black people's collective best interest to hate yourself. That's why we have to have ideologies and concepts that glorify melanin and blackness, and we have to find amazing people in history or in folk tales or in lore and insert blackness on them or highlight blackness on them because this is the opposite was done to destroy black people. So I hope that answers your question, Brother Dominic. Asks a good question. Can mixed Here we go. Raven asks a good question. Can mixed and black people work together? So the question is to Brother Dominic, remember his case study, can mixed and black people work together? Now we're looking at this. We're now going to go to another video. This one's set in the States. Let's see which one. Here's another one. What's this one? Let's see what this one's about.
Black guy. 3 things you love about black guys.
A black man asking mother and daughter 3 things you love about black guys. Once again, probably could be done for algorithm. The fact that that's the topic's interesting. Could have done, there's some things you asked, but that's, this probably gets the clicks, so that's what they like it.
Hi, mum.
Hi.
And then they say hi to the mum.
What do you love about black guys?
Everything.
What about you?
It's the same, everything.
Have you had a black guy?
I've dated. Not in front of her
You
mum,
what?
please.
Not in front of.
Yeah, see, you're getting a lot of this kind of algorithm stuff, black men asking white people in front of their mum, no matter do you love black men. It's not a good flex, but then I'm probably reaching. What's the last one we saw? Or is this one there? Let's see what this is. What's this one?
On interracial dating.
Do you approve of it?
Personally, no. I think biblically it's wrong.
So they put a boo thing when she said that.
You know.
So biblically, like my race is supposed to stay with my race, and like stuff like that.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have a problem being friends with you.
You just wouldn't. You just would never get with me.
So yeah. So the algorithm keeps giving me this stuff, and I make comments and whatever. So so this is before we talk about race mixing and all this kind of stuff. We need to look at the psychology of black people to say that are we in the right mind frame to do any kind of mixing if we don't have any self-love or any concepts that highlight self-love, because then that will then explain the disparaging of who is marrying out and why, and who's making no money and why, and who loves who and who's getting abused and all that good stuff. I also saw one other thing, 2 important videos I'm going to play before we end. We need more people brothers like this.
It's not just to prove I can beat this man. It's to beat this man and to go back to Chicago and walk Skid Row. Go to Harlem where the black people are taking needles every day. Dope is a big thing in America now. People are dying. Black women are walking the streets, prostitute themselves. When Muhammad Ali come out, for 1 hour they're righteous. So my fighting is for a purpose. To pray to Allah, represent Allah, and go back to the hells of America and walk the streets of my downtrodden people, because all big black people don't no more want to be black. I can say it loudly on television here in the world. No, I'm the only big $1 million making in the white man's world of prestige who speaks for his people 100% and don't give a damn about the money, being shot, take the title, take it all, and to go to jail tomorrow. I love my people, and I'm not going to sell them out, make no movies and mislead them and marry blondes, because I'm one Negro who the boss let me come in the castle and the rest of them in the fields catching hell. I'm going to the fields and represent them if it means die. So that's why I'll fight. So now you know from now on here, Muhammad Ali signed the fight is for freedom of black people. Now God is involved. What? Now you're fighting a spiritual holy war.
Very amazing, brother. We see if you can show me one black person in the UK or in America or anywhere who has that same spirit, where you can understand what they're for and how they recognize the plight of their people, and in every fabric for what they're doing, you see they're there to lift up. Yeah, they're very important, very important. Big up brother Muhammad Ali. Is the YouTube page at rate? I don't know. Okay, there you go. Is there a question if someone wants to get signed? They've got one more video. I think there's a similar video. What was the other one? This is a sister, I think, from America as well. Where are you? Oh yeah, there we go. Privilege.
When I'm calling out everybody black, we have to create our own black privilege. We have to. It's non-negotiable. What does that look like? I was on a plane sitting first class. There was a little girl walked by me. She had her backpack on. She was so adorable, and she just kept staring at me. And I said, "You are so pretty." And she goes, right, she looked away. I said, "No, you are so pretty." And then I heard her ask her mom, like, about me sitting up front, right? What that means. Her mom said, "Oh, that's first class." And she said, "Mommy, why we can't sit here?" They're having this quiet conversation.
Right.
They get in their seat. I told the stewardess, "Go get that little girl." She said, "Which one?" The little girl that walked by me. She went and got the little girl. I said, "Listen, you have my seat if the mom's okay with it." The mom was like, "Absolutely." So I said, "She has my seat. Whatever she wants, order it." But my point is, I created black privilege with that. We have to start to create that. White people only have white privilege because they privilege their people. We have to start seeing our black people.
Oh, is it not? Oh, hold on. Sorry, let me. Hold on. Ah, what did I pin? I must have pinned some stupid thing in there. I don't know. I don't know what I pinned. Yeah, let me check the pin. Let me pin this one. Sorry for let me carry playing the sister as well. Sorry.
And privilege them. We have to do that. That is something I'm calling out every black person to do. If you got a penny or if you got $1 million, figure out once a day what black person you can privilege. I don't care if it's your neighbor or if it's a family member. Please do that.
My sister was saying, privilege someone. It doesn't matter who they are. Well, black person. Try to give them. Where is this thing, man? Yeah, I've put the thing in there. Have I posted it in there? And I'm gonna try to pin it for you. Have I not put it in? Yeah, it is. So maybe what I pinned there was maybe the show's been shut down because I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff we do gets. Maybe I'll put the show in there. I'm an idiot. How do I find the show? Sometimes this stuff is so convoluted. All right. Black Betterment. There we go. Let's see if it comes up live. So yeah, what the sister was saying was important. Let me mute that before I get a loop. Like something you are responsible for giving, black people a kind of privilege or looking out for black people. That's what Black Betterment literally is. Pin this. Hold on. Pin. Oh, wait. Replace pin. There you go. Yep. There you go. So let me test this. Oh, it works. Sorry about that, family. I mean, some things have happened. We've been booked and blocked from last week. Like people telling me that certain shows got shut down. The wrong links in the thing. It's all going there. But we welcome Empress Christie to the Black Betterment Broadcast. Very important contributor. Welcome to the show, sister.
Thank you, bro. Black Betterment.
Black Betterment.
Are you going to finish the video?
Yeah, I think that was it. That was the last one. That was
What's her name?
I wrote it down, but I didn't write it down where I'm looking now. But I've seen her do something. Should I try to find it for you for next week or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what she said. It's so important for us to be able to experience something. They say that you can't be what you can't see. So it's the fact that she heard that the little child was inquisitive about her and where she's sitting and why she gets to sit there and the difference and what it feels like for her. So it's not out of reach, So like she said, come over, sit down, experience it. And do you know what I mean? So I think that was lovely to hear. So that was a good video. I like that one.
It's good. Yeah. Let me see if there's
I did want to know if Foster's answered my question that you asked him, though, because I think that was a really good question that you asked him.
Well, the people who've joined now know the question that was asked, so we can re-ask him.
It was
roughly.
There was a conversation. Yeah, roughly. It was just back and forth about. He said that he's from a mixed community, and that's how I feels. And you asked, okay, then, well, can mixed and black people work together for some form of betterment? So I just wanted to see what his answer was to that.
So, Brother Foster, is it possible in your world for a person with one black parent and a person with two black parents work together for the betterment of people with one black parent and two black parents? Do you reckon that could be a possibility, bro? Let us know. And if you're still up, you might have.
Because he separates it, innit? He separates it in a whole different community. Like things that the mix is a whole separate community. So it's interesting to see what he would think about that. So yeah, I'm interested to see what he's going to come to a conclusion of on that one. I think as well, I just wanted to comment on the videos that you were playing with the Black brothers, going up to these white women and asking them questions.
Go ahead.
And one thing that came out to me is, because I try to avoid these videos, but obviously I saw it now, and what kind of come back to me is like, I don't think, or maybe I did notice, I just didn't care, but what came out to me today is when they ask, it's like almost like a verification for them. Like, you still find white men sexy, right? Like, kind of like, and then when they get that confirmation, it just reinforced some sort of self-worth, self-confidence back into them, because this is like low bar, right? Like, this is really low bar. Like, if we put this in a different context, this would look quite desperate.
Yes.
Like, you're consciously going to, and I couldn't see properly because I'm on my phone right now, but they looked like they were like like older women, older white women, right? It's not like he's going to his peers or was that off there?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're
he was.
asking, like, you know, have you been with black men? Like, do you like black men? Like, you're like, this kind of buck stereotype is not a good look. Do you understand? Like, I don't know if they still think that that is a flex to be a buck, like just to like kind of leverage yourself as this. It's not even like like a sexy like icon kind of man. It's kind of just like a gigolo. Just like it's very like cheap. Do you understand? Am I making myself clear? Because I know I'm talking from a woman's point of view here. But I'm just saying that
I can take over. We're saying it's not a flex. It's actually seen as it is in a desperate mode, and unfortunately, so low is the bar. And but the difference is the brothers who are doing it, they actually cannot. They almost can't see it. It's almost like the bar's been lowered so low that they can't even recognize that this is not a flex. This is actually making themselves look very desperate, and there is no real pride connected. It's like if they agree to that they want to be with us, this is so good, and I get on camera that white women, the daughters of white men, can like black men. Yay!
And all I've got to do is just be black.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
know what I mean? Like, there's no expectation with them. Obviously, with your counterpart, there's expectations, right? But with you, are you still telling me that all I have to do is just show up and be black? Like, all I have to do is just like do the dance, do you know what I mean? And do the tap dancing, do your little stereotype, and like that's it. I get in. Like, you need to let me know. Is that all I have to do, right? It's like, yeah, okay, great. Like, that's what it kind of comes off like.
Unfortunately, we see that. Did you see the video of the Asian people at the beginning? Did you see that?
Yeah.
So, because what I'm trying to highlight as well is a lot of the self-hatred that many black men go through. You obviously every community goes through their own challenges, but they were very plain about the reason why, as Asians who went to America, why they were dating European. It was for validation and to feel safe, and closer proximity to success and this kind of things, right? But they were more articulate with it. That's what it was. But I think someone else is drawing on. Yeah, we do. Big up. But so the thing is, I sense that.
Say that last part again.
Yeah. Connection to success.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make it look like you're more successful by being with a European, being around Europeans. It's interesting that other communities feel this way, right? It's not a surprise because when Francis Cress Welsing is talking about white supremacy and stuff, that's how it kind of works. But the difference is because our community seems to be more heavy hit by these concepts, we might culturalize self-hating concepts more widespread, or it might be accepted. So you might see black men, in mass making shows about, would you make love to a black man? And this is like, oh, I wonder if she says yes. Like, not even pondering why that is a question in the first place. That, do you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, the reason why they don't is because of the dynamics between the races and the history of hate and stuff, right? And now they want to know, like, can you look past all the history of hate and look past the phenotype differences and all the challenges and just be with us? It's like, it's a very desperate kind of thing. So brother, I know who. So the brother's talking about I think Kahindi Andrews. I probably pronounce it wrong. He teaches in a lot of the universities. And
Great
stuff.
brother.
He's very consistent brother. But I think what Brother Foster's doing as well is he's looking at the ancestry of, and I think he said that maybe one parent is black and one parent is part black, part white in the sense of
mixed heritage.
Mixed heritage. And I think he wants to now. He's using terms like he's mixed race like me and this kind of stuff. So obviously the brother has a interesting strategy of going to black spaces and divide black people. Like the brother the brother you're describing has never identified as mixed or anything like this. But yours, which is up to you. That's fine because you've got your own agenda. but we are case studying what you're doing, and we see the reasons behind it. We have asked you questions. Is it cool? And I think you did try to answer it. I think, let me read it out. Sorry. The question was, can black people and white, mixed black and one black parent and two black parent black people work together for the betterment of both? And his answer was, black and mixed already do work together on anti-racism activism, etc. But it's mainly in academy for YC. But I'm asking you personally, like, are you comfortable to work with black people, with one black parent and two black parents on the collective benefit of both those groups? Is that something that would tickle your fancy? Or not really? Be interested to hear that. A big up King Kojo, who's joined us, very important contributor. Welcome.
Betterment, What Raven, how you doing?
Very good family.
How you doing, Cushy?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. In my head, it's going good.
Excellent. So let me see if there's any other stuff that I haven't played that Fox, and I'll get banned because it hasn't been blackified. Show the Free Man. There's that kind of beef going in America with who invented hip hop, but we'll cover that.
Is it okay if I answer to what he was saying though?
Yeah. It's your knock stuff out, of course.
He said that like I did ask him about the black and mixed race thing working together. Because I think that was a good question that you asked.
Yeah.
I see that he mentioned Kende, but I do believe what you said about he doesn't separate himself from the black community at all. He definitely identifies himself as a black person. And this is what I keep on asking about. Like, this is what I was saying about the devil's in the details. Because if you're Kende is not a good example because he classifies himself as a black man. And that's what we're trying to tell you, bro. Like, in this kind of making mixed race their own kind of entity, then you can't start calling out people who would not relate to that. They would reject that because Kende would classify himself as a black brother. And that's what I'm saying. If in the rules that you set, can these two communities work together? Because I don't think that they can. I think what you're going to find is that those brothers who DNA come from like mixed heritage, but that identified as black, are going to classify themselves as black. You can't then use them people now to be okay. They'd be in the mixed camp because they don't class themselves as mixed. They class themselves as black in spirit, in mind. They're black. Do you see what I'm saying, bro? So that's why I found it very interesting because, like he says, I agree. Like, if you want to say that, like, people already doing that, perhaps, but Kende would class himself as a black man. So,
good point. Let me add to that. So I think to expand it, I think it's like, obviously you have your concept of what you want to define as mixed, right? As in from your historical what you're saying. So first of all, the brother has a biracial parent who's black, biracial, and one who's black, right? So historically, it's very hard for that person to claim anything outside of black. But even if they want, so be it, what it is, right? But I think if a person identifies strongly as a black person and they've been raised that way, or they've chosen to raise that way, whatever, then they're already in the community doing that, and they're already viewed that way. But I think what the challenge might be is if you identify as mixed and you put so much emphasis on mix and more so towards the other mix, whatever, then your mind might not be in the right place. You might not value Black Betterment. So let's actually read what the brother said because he has tried to answer it. First thing he said is, I'll never work with people like you and people like you, Kel and EIE, which I think is everything, and other black nationalists. So what he's saying is there are black nationalists who he will never work with. He has his reasons, and he'll know what they are. I'm sure he'll let us know next. Then he followed up with, then your question makes no sense. A pro-mixed race would obviously prioritize mixed race issues and not black issues. Well,
who's pro-mixed race? You talk about these people like, okay, like, where's your nation? What's your pro-mixed race language? What is your pro-mixed race history? Where's your land? Like, are you being for real, bro? I was like, this is not working for you. Like, you're acting like there's a whole... What is pro-mixed heritage? What is like, where's your land? We're talking about a pro-mixed person. I didn't even know there was a group only until you came on here. So where is these people that now only identify as pro-mixed race? And why do you only come around pro-black people and cause drama? Like,
in there. I mean, and brother, to your mixed coalition council. Once again, but this case study, trying to learn something. Would you include a Chinese man and a white man as biracial? Would that qualify in your group as well, brother Foster? Let us know when you can, though, because it'll be interesting to know. Like, is your group one black and one non-black, or is the group anyone who has two different quote unquote races?
exactly.
Is that because that'll be yes, of course, but we don't know what you're saying is of course to. So is your group
Exactly.
every form of mixing that goes on, as in the mixed unity, or is it a black person mixed with other black? So they have this thing they call Blasians. They use the term. They have these things. Dunga. I think Dunga. I think from the St. Lucians kind of places, whatever, where Indian and black, and then you might have black and Arab, Afro-Arab. They might call it at some point. They've all got black and something else. Is that? Are you saying you're the black? So would the term not be black and something else then? Maybe that might be a better term, and maybe make that more trendy, just so people understand. No, I'm saying mixed race groups are inclusive of all. Right. Okay. So what you're saying is you have a new concept, or you're tapping into a concept where any two different opposite races coming together to work on the population of opposite races and the needs. Do you think that you might have some conflict? So let me give you an ideology that we teach here. That let me know if you follow it through, because it goes across the board. So what tends to happen is whenever black or black connected people get together and they join a group, whether it's veganism, religionism, feminism, homosexualism, all the isms, whatever, right? It works. They come in, they all got the same ideology, and let me separate from those blacks over there because they're not homosexual, they're not vegan, or they're not worshiping this kind of deity, whatever it is, right? But as time goes by, a week or so, you start realizing there's a dynamic. So the ones who are identified as black or close to black connected find themselves at the bottom, and the ones who are either European or Arab or whatever find themselves at the top. Let me know that when you do this kind of mixed coalition concept, are the mixed people who are mixed white and something else at the top? Funny enough, let's actually, because we've always got receipts here. Let us actually see. Let's have we'll watch the first minute or so of this.
Being mixed race is often considered a privilege in China.
这个小孩绝对是我见过的最好看的混血宝宝。总之，他的颜值非常高。
Filters on China.
I'm going to read out the thing because something's in Mandarin on the other one. Sorry.
Chinese social media apps give users the chance to see what they would look like with mixed features.
So there's a social app in China. So the Chinese people, they're quite distinct in how they look with their Asian features, but they've motivated to make an app to see if you had a European parent, how you would look.
But this mixed race fixation is centered around the Chinese and Caucasian look.
Hello? Okay. Case study.
Eileen Gu grew up in the US, but often refers to herself as a Chinese girl.
Being half Chinese and half black is a different story.
Oh, so let's read. So ugly and black, like a chimpanzee, not going to smart anywhere. You're only mocked by us Chinese. So this is a sister who has one Chinese parent and one black parent. So we saw that when it was one Chinese and one European, it was joy galore and new fantastic apps being invented just so others can experience the look. Unfortunately, when it's Chinese and black, chimpanzee. Let's make fun. Let's see what her story's saying.
It's not uncommon to see anti-black sentiment in China.
Not uncommon.
They show alleged mistreatment by Chinese officials of African students and workers.
Let's break that down. People who come from Africa are being mistreated, and people who are part African and part Chinese are being mistreated. Interesting. But the people who are European are not being mistreated, and the people who are part European are not being mistreated. Interesting. Remember, you're going to make a mixed coalition. I wonder who's going to lead it in a year.
In Guangzhou.
From blackface on national
So obviously they do the blackface over there. It's more comedy, as you see in Europe as well.
TV to commercials extolling
we see a dark-skinned black man with a Chinese woman in the advert. I wonder what's going to happen.
the virtues of laundry detergent that washes away black features.
So he's now been washed away. Now he's a quote-unquote handsome Asian man. She probably would more likely marry a white man, but the advert is showing it.
Blackness is often stigmatized. Yet China has been Africa's largest trading partner for over a decade, with transactions rising to a record high of 250.
So we're seeing that there's many Asians going to Japan, to Africa to do so-called business and benefit.
See how much of them are begging for? Is it for a wife now?
There
One
you
of
go.
them, they're either asking for wives or husbands out there. I think it's wives now because of the whole population.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and also after you've played this, you know, I won't put it on everyone else, about an organisation or give me something that represents the mixed heritage group. He's given us one. I don't know if you don't mind googling it after. I know you're going to wrap up soon, but yeah, thank you.
Let me play it in the scene. I can look at what he's saying.
In 2021, which has led to much more than just the exchange of trade.
我是出生在乌干达，然后2岁搬到了北京。
So it's in Mandarin, so I'll read it. But are you saying People in Harmony? Is that the group? People in Harmony? That's not a group. And what the sister is saying is,
People in Harmony.
People in, and this is the mixed coalition concept, right?
Apparently, because I've never heard of this.
Yeah, People in Harmony, and it's a mixed race group. See what happens. I'm sure it's thriving, which is
yeah, no problem. While you're typing it, he says about commenting about the fact that, you know, I don't live in China literally makes no sense. I keep telling the brother that we need to have a world view on things because we need to understand the different details. This is what I'm saying about the details. We need to understand the different comprehensions of race around the world, because sometimes they come into conversations because someone's taken it from that meaning or that view, and it can confuse us. And also understanding the origin of a lot of these things always stem to one particular group when it comes to us. So it's important to have a world view on things like this.
Well, of course. But to expand that, what you have to understand, we're talking about biracial, and you're saying that come one, come all concept, where if it's Chinese and white, they're biracial, come to your group. And we're saying, okay, that's fine, but understand that the black,
true, the conflicts on there is going to be different.
Yeah, but what we're saying is you're going to have a Chinese person based in the UK, because you're from the UK, who wants to marry a black person, whatever, but they come from China. So understanding what happens in China, what might be fed down to Chinese people as they become into your community is important. You see, just like India, just like America, just like wherever. But once again, they say that anti-black racism is global. You see, but let's carry on.
You're saying that how can you have cohesion in a mixed group when you've got someone who are both classes mixed, like the two people that you've given here? One has a set of privileges and one doesn't.
So how can a white presenting mixed race man be views in your home country? What the F has China got to do with this conversation? I mean, we're trying to give you a case study, bro. But did you not see the experience where they showed you how a European and Chinese person was celebrated, and a European and African, a black person, was denigrated? Can you see the science? And I'm asking you, in the UK, would you say that that's different or not? So would an Asian person in UK with a European get more or less celebrated versus a English person with versus a Chinese person, or Asian person with a black person? Because remember, the reason why you're here is because your combo, fortunately or unfortunately, as you might see it, is with black. So that's why you're in the Black Betterment Broadcast. So everything we talk about is black connected, ABC, African black connected, or Afro black connected, right? And we're showing you that in China, whether it's in the Chinese country or in the UK as Chinese descent, they are going to favor European over African, or black, white over black anytime. And every document that exists in the planet seems to say the same thing. Yeah. And here's one of your, would you accept this sister as part of your biracial community? This sister here who's telling you what's happening. I've been living in Beijing since I was 2 years. My father was he did trade between China and Africa. He met my mother through work. He met my mother through work. she looks black. Okay, so what you so what you're saying is, are you, because remember we're not as fast as you when it comes to your concept. Are you saying that when a black person has children with a non-black person, if the black gene is very dominant and you see high percentage of African DNA or whatever it is through the phenotype, are you saying that you no longer want to register them as biracials? Is that correct, brother? Because we didn't know that if that's what it was. Let us know if that's what it is.
Am I on mute?
You are not, or you can be heard.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think he was saying that, because I'm reading through it and he did make reference to something else. I think it's about something about how they're facing, like how they present, because he said, so how would a white presenting mixed race man be viewed in your home country? So they'd probably be viewed as white. To answer that question, bro. And then obviously he said that she looks black. Having afro hair means you'll be racialized as black everywhere. I see her as biracial, but I'm saying people will see her as black.
Okay.
But I think we can. There's a lot of people that probably agree with that. So where are we not agreeing then, Foster? What part are we not agreeing here?
Like Meghan Markle doesn't experience the world the same as a black presenting mixed people. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is yeah, I agree with him. This is what I was saying. This is what I thought you were trying to show as well, bro, in your video, because you have two people who classify themselves as mixed race, but they have two different experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them in her country was having a better experience because she was half white.
Mm. And the other one's having the worst experience because she was half black, connected to black, or whatever. So why is Raven showing this video when I don't I don't present as black? Well,
does he present as white? Do you present as white, Foster?
Well, now we're finding out. I don't know. So presenting is one thing, brother, right? And that's one thing. But what we're telling you is you are here because you've told us that one of your black parents, one of your parents is black, right? And we're saying that the dynamic of Asian and black and Asian and white shows that clearly blackness, no matter what form it comes in, seems to be always pitied low or pitied against low. So why is it here? So I think I look mixed, but sometimes people assume I'm white. Okay, well I didn't know this. So you're technically saying that you might be passing. Is that right, bro?
You have no idea why. You must have some sort of idea. Have you got blonde hair? Have you got like light eyes?
Do you eat cucumber sandwiches in public?
I have no idea why. You must have an idea why.
Well, but here's what it is, brother.
People
right?
know why. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, here's what it is.
It's like, why do you think?
But if the brother is passing as white, whatever it is, right? We understand in history, in Pan-African movements and pro-black movements, there's always been people who have that kind of stuff, right? Where they're connected because of a parent or whatever, and they've adopted many European through mixed relations, whatever. But they still have a place and they still are welcome, and no one is getting angry or fighting or whatever it is. So what is it that you know? Is that too hard to believe, brother? Because I'm lighting my hair straight. Okay, so you light your hair straight. So this is. I'm hoping that this ain't a projection, as in like. So are you saying that So you're saying black people won't accept you? Is that? Are we going?
I asked him that question if he tried to go down that lane, but he said, "I said, so what are you trying to say? That it was a black person? That was the person that told you in black." He goes, "No, the world was."
Well, Google the first black president of Liberia. Do you look like that brother? Because that brother was very light. He had freckles and, you know, and they registered him quote unquote as a quadroon, and he was there. And obviously, his entire family is extremely dark skinned now because he went to Liberia and his family's black right now, fully black. Like you can't tell. Whatever, right?
Oh wow!
But the first president of Liberia was from the States, and he went there. The first black, Afro-black or black connected or biracial, whatever, person, and obviously, you know, his family is now Liberian, because it is. So yeah, the thing is, bro, we can't see, but even we couldn't. If you told us,
I think we can have an idea though.
Yeah.
Says that like because I'm like my hair straight, I have a face of freckles. Some people can't tell, others can't, and we've all seen that. Like, I get what he's talking about. I think I would be able to tell, but I know that there's others
You
that
know
might
what,
be able to.
sister, that might explain a lot then, as in
Yeah.
the and that'll be an interesting thing to unpack. And that's what I'm saying. That, and there's a bit of us, bro, Foster, where sometimes when people are speaking, it's what they're not saying that's actually what's motivating them. You see?
That's what I appreciate is honesty, though.
Yes.
Because if in order to have this kind of conversation, I've been saying for time, like we really do need to leave the emotion out of it and have a real conversation. And I think the way that you present is gonna have an impact on how you view the world.
Yeah.
Because and he's confirming that because he's saying like he gave an example of Megan, right? And he's saying that his experience with Megan's experience is different than I think he even said a person who looks biracial. We're not including the black conversation here, right? This is two mixed race people and their experiences are different, showing up different here. And I think those are the kind of conversations that are not getting had.
So you're essentially what we're describing is what some people might call white passing features, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if Andrew Tate might qualify as white passing features. Maybe he does, probably.
Who's Wentworth Miller, bro? Do you know?
Let me check. Wentworth Miller. So let's see. Oh, what? He's the guy from that big show. I used to watch it myself.
Can you show it?
Let me get a picture. So let me put this in the Google thing. Hold on. So when you see him, you go, oh, him, yeah, I know him. And I guess you could. Let me. I'm just gonna.
But this goes to prove to what I'm trying to say to you, Foster. With all of those dynamics going on, right, and this has got nothing to do with me, right? So I'm just having an honest conversation with you. But in those kind of different dynamics that are going on, it's going to be a lot going on in that one community you're trying to build while being anti-black. Like a lot of the problems that you'll come up against are will have quite similar things in regards to, it might be called shadism or featureism or stuff like that are quite similar that you might be experiencing in this your own little world of mixed race land that you're trying to build, right? So I could just see that a lot of problems there, boy.
So this is the picture.
And then on top of that, you're anti-black, so it's a lot.
Yeah, that's got an issue. So this is the brother, the guy. I'm trying to figure. It's gonna upset me. I can't get it. What's it called? That Prison Break. He was very popular.
Oh.
He had a tattoo. He
was in Mariah Carey's music video.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I did. Oh yes, maybe you're right. It would be worse with black people. It would be even worse with black people. So what you're saying is so what you're saying is
what's he saying about him?
He'll feel more comfortable in a room full of people who identify as biracial from different sectors of the world than a room of people identifying as black. So we have had mixed race groups for years.
That's a strong statement.
So okay, so that's what he's saying. He's saying, at least for him, as someone who identifies as the prison break looking guy. Is that right, brother? You're more connected to this kind of, you see yourself more as a prison break kind of.
See what you said about him. But the joke thing is that brother was celebrated in the black community. This is all right. Do you know what, bro? Good luck, because this is what I'm saying about the confusion. Because he was definitely celebrated in the black community. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, there are many. I mean, Mariah Carey is seen as black, and she's got black parents. She identifies as black, and when she's doing those R&B hits, people call her black, and that's another. Well, she's in the same video as this guy, right? So I don't know. I don't relate to colorism. Okay, so you don't. Here's what it is. You don't relate. Okay, but here's what it is, and this is the thing. And this is more advice than I'm giving to you, yeah, brother. When you're going to try to get some kind of movement, a union, or whatever going, one of the things you have to recognize is what the overlapping features, but also what makes you distinct and different. So in the black community, the colorism, shadism, nationalism, tribalism, they affect all of us differently. But we tried to open a space where we recognize all these challenges and try to find a constructive way to deal with them, right? So even though you can't relate to, allegedly, to texture, even though you should be able to relate to, because you're going to face it in the sense of you might be in the reverse end of it, right? Where you might have to give advice to someone who's going through it and you have a better understanding. I don't know, right? But I think it's quite a dismissive thing. That, I can't relate to it, so I don't want to be a part of it. It's like me saying I can't relate to being a Nigerian. I can't relate to being a Nigerian. And what a Nigerian is going through as a Nigerian in Nigeria. But when a Nigerian comes here, or when there's a Nigerian has a history that he's affected by racism or by self-hatred or whatever it might be, there's an overlap in it, right? And then we can network or collaborate to do things that is mutual beneficial.
Yeah, it's something here that I'm saying dark-skinned black people and racially ambiguous people have very different experiences. I don't disagree.
No, I agree. But I expand it even more because here's what I found. Yeah,
how can you not relate to colorism or texturism? What does that mean?
As if
we've just seen an example of it. We've just seen two mixed race people put us out of it. We've just seen two mixed race people literally discuss them going through those two isms. Right? Your own people. You don't want to listen to us. Your own people are talking about it. The people that you say you can relate to more than us.
See, we're connecting the dots, brother. And the thing is, and this is the case study, brothers, that we talk about. When you talk longer and you ask questions, you connect the dots, you start seeing really what at work is. And also the inconsistencies when it comes to other groups and like the pressures that's put on the black group, you don't see those same pressures in the non-black group. You see?
He said in China, I guarantee you those two people, those two same mixes would have that same experience in the West.
Oh well, I wouldn't to bet you anything that is. Well, we don't have to bet. We know that.
Dry turkey.
Yeah. Let me. So no, yeah, without question, right? But the thing is, we know this as a community that a Arab and a European and an Arab and a black, the Arab and the European is going to be more favored. A Chinese and a black and a Chinese and a European. So because we understand that, when we talk about black, that's why when I use this term ABC, Afro-Black connected, it should make more sense that because we're connected to this African Afro-Black kind of thing, regardless of the dynamics and the texture and the difference in the nation and the language, we understand that somehow the mix with black or the black people traveling to here find themselves in a similar predicament to the same group elsewhere, right? And it's like no matter where you search, you see the same thing. And you might not care for it, but the people who spend their time trying to mistreat you understand why they hate Afro-centered people or Afro-Black people, whatever, right? But once again, family, I don't want them to get frustrated by this conversation. This is a case study. It isn't like a begging for friends. Where we're trying to get to understand the confusion that happens in the black community and the black connected community, whatever. And this is what it is. And I hope we're seeing in the case study the blights given to other groups that black groups are not really afforded. I hope that's been consistent. But family, we've hit the 2 hours.
Ebsby made a good point in your chat.
Let me see. Yeah,
mix with white.
Let's put that up.
Opportunity and privilege. When they mix with black, they know that this will make their lives harder because globally everyone knows how bad we are treated.
Yeah.
And that sums up what I was trying to say into regards to why we need to know world.
Yes, but family, before well done to Ebsby and Sister Cushy. But one thing I would say that's a very important turning point is Brother Foster, who we're case studying at the moment. He's identified that he looks like a white passing person, right? According to him, apparently. But even though he says he can see, and that could really flavor a person's choice. I guess that will mold it because when he's looking at the part black, part Chinese, or the Afro-Asian or this kind of thing on the TV, he's saying yes, but that woman has clear black features, or that I can't relate to that. So now he's painting a picture of what he's going for. And one thing what might be happening is you might have a brother who's actually more focused on his particular, unique, distinct challenges, And that's
Yeah, like not
yeah.
even just mixed race heritage. Because when
Yeah.
I think of it's like, because like FYI, Foster, when I think of mixed heritage, I don't think of someone like the guy from Prison Break. I think of someone who looks mixed race,
Yeah.
and that normally is more adjacent to black features. So it's like when you talking about mix, you're talking about the lightest and the brightest and the straightest hair of the do you know what I mean, of the bunch. And that's not always, that's a potluck, and more times it's not that way all the time. So I don't know, and I think that it was never definitely for me, wasn't triggering, but I think it's important for a mixed race person to say these things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think these are things that we already know, but now that it's been saying out of their mouths, then I think that's like, I think that that's important as well. And I just think that it's not about forcing people or anything like that. It's just understanding that you can't move forward if you're going to be stopped with these kind of, interruptions and confusions every 4 minutes. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Especially with people that are just saying, look, if you feel black, then and you know you're about the the black agenda, and you feel that connected with that, then this is your home. So I don't understand the fight. I don't understand if people were just saying no, and just shutting you out, but it's not that. It's just that you have to be able to protect yourself, and I think we understand protection and gatekeeping and reserving things in everything else except for when it comes to black people. That's when it becomes an issue, when black people even try to start setting up boundaries to protect themselves, protect discussions, and protect themselves in regards to building themselves as a community. Then it's always an attack on us.
Yeah. It's very important, very important. And one thing that I would say that it's very important to learn, brother Foster, is if you are white passing or white phenotypically synchronized, whatever it might be, you have to understand that if you were to come in black spaces, if you feel that you're mistreated, you have to understand that it's because you might be then gaining a privilege through the system that your comrades are not getting, and there might be some form of resentment that this guy can actually get some of the things I can't get because he's white adjacent or white passing, whatever the word is, and this is not your fault or anything, but having an understanding of why someone might feel that way. Well, Black Betterment gives you that like stepping into a room. So, for example, when you were trying to make fun of me personally, I rather than taking it as an offense, like, oh, who's he trying to question my blackness, I'm all thinking, this man is hurt. Where does this hurt come from? Let's see if I can help him. And hopefully Black Betterment can give you that same thing, that when you're in a room with other darker skinned black men and they start going, oh, you look white, or you're close to white and you're going to get privileges, rather than get angry and leave and condemn black people as a whole, you can go, this person's hurt. Why is he hurt? He's hurt because of white supremacy, because of what's happened to black people and having less opportunities, and seeing that the lighter you are, you might get more by being closer to European. And they're reacting badly to that stimuli, you see. So maybe that's where you can learn from Black Betterment of how to actually realize, quote unquote, your position or your privilege, is not a good word, but in society, and rather be affected by the negative reaction that people have to whatever they see. Think of, how can I help that brother as we're trying to help you, brother. Know you're loved. Anyway, family, this has been a fantastic show, but we do have to go. So any last word from brother King Kojo, Empress Kush, before we leave?
Yeah, no, I love to keep going. I feel like, my trauma, like pain into power, kind of like push me forward. And when I find the power within me, it's kind of like I'm helping. I'm kind of like free from religion, like having freedom, spiritually. So I start to know that something is within me. So the answers is within me, trying to change the world. So I feel like the pain and the trauma is pushing me forward. Like the ancestors is pushing within me.
Thank you, my friend.
No worries.
And Empress Kush.
Yeah, just another great show, bro. So I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister. Of course. So, family, hopefully today you've learned the importance of case studying, asking questions, not to be triggered by people who might be in self-sabotage mode, and try to get a full picture, and also how to show love to those who need love. So, Brother Foster, know you're loved, and if ever you wish to be synchronized, there is a place for you. And hopefully we will continue next week with another topic. We might even do white passing. I think Brother Foster is important because he's letting us unpack the history of white passing, the privileges it might give, but also the pain it might bring, you see. So we might do that. Very important topics, and then covered by another topic. Oh, you guys can always recommend topics in the chat. Just post it. We might cover it. But until then, everyone.
I definitely think we should take a time to look at the Sahel and the progression since the last time we've looked into it.
So say one again. Sorry.
The Sahel and the progression since the last time we looked into it. I think we should be following that. You know, the Sahel Alliance.
Oh, in Africa, you mean?
Yeah.
I think you did an amazing cover of that last a few months back, didn't you? I remember very well.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of progression on that. So
I saw something about
talk about some Black Betterment stuff.
Excellent. Let's do that.
Progress and
yeah, let me write that down. That's a good one. I'll write that. All right, thank you, sister. Fantastic. All right, until next week, everyone. Black Betterment to all, and to all Black Betterment. There you go.
Peace.
Peace.